Race fans, here to deliver those most famous words in motorsports, please welcome today's Grand Marshals, representatives from Great Southern Wood Preserving Network of over 5,000 dealers, led by founder, president, and chief executive officer, Jimmy Rain.
Drivers, start your engine!
1, 2, 3, fire. Fired up when you're in line. You're fired up.
500 miles of nail-biting energy right in front of us here at Talladega. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Yellawood brand pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't have that yellow tag, you don't want it. Credit One Bank, a credit card company. Ford, built Ford proud. And by Coca-Cola.
It's going to be a physical and a mental test, and they got to figure it out.
Today we've talked about how key it is to have a good race here, because you go to Talladega.
Fire on our right side here.
A lot of bumping and banging, no giving anymore. Everybody's taking.
Oh, a contact! I'm obviously pissed off and just not going to get run like that.
Ryder takes that opportunity to possibly retaliate.
Just add it to the list of guys when I get a chance. They're going to get it.
We're going to win damn oval, baby. Come on, bring it home. Yeah!
Wow, so much that went on here today. They move on to Talladega next.
That's probably the one that stands out, as makes you a little anxious, a little nervous.
It's just the track that you don't really know what can happen.
It comes down to things that you can't control.
You do not control your fate, whether you're in the front, middle, or the back. There's no safe place at Talladega.
Pull your belts tighter, way tighter than you do the rest of the year.
The craziness of Texas a week ago will continue on now to Talladega. I want to take a look at today's starting grid, brought to you by Yellawood. Up front, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson will bring the field to the green flag. Denny Hamlin and Eric Almirola. Denny Hamlin, one of the best at Superspeedway racing.
As you see here, Joey Logano, Eric Jones, row 6, Chase Elliott, row 8. The most popular driver. These stands will be electric if Chase Elliott can take the lead here today.
And you look at some of these drivers like Mark Truex Jr. We just saw Ryan Blaney also. Drivers that haven't won yet. We've already had 19 different winners this year. Could another winner break the record of winners in a season?
Well, even these guys back in row 15, 16, 17. You know, when we come to Talladega, the draft, the great equalizer, everyone in this field thinks this could be their day. This could be their breakthrough.
Cars rolling off of pit road and around this 2.66 mile super speedway. Leading a field with some unique views is the Coca-Cola pace car cam. And we want to dial up the driver of the 22, Joey Logano. Jeff, can we get him on the radio?
Hey, Joey, it's the boys in NBC booth. You with us?
I'm with you. What's happening?
Ready to watch some racing, buddy? 37 points on the good side in this playoff battle. How does that affect your strategy for today?
It definitely affects the strategy. I can't say I'm certain on which way it affects us, but this is obviously quite the wild card race, and a lot of things that can happen. And I think we got to have a strategy depending on how the race is unfolding and what's going on, and ultimately leave here with as bigger lead over the points cutoff that we're at right now. So that's the game plan with the Shell Pencil Mustang. If that's winning, great. If that's doing something else, that's what we'll have to do. We'll just try to maximize the day every chance we can.
Joey, it's been a crazy year. What are you expecting today as far as the aggression level?
Well, you got different agendas out here, right? You got some, like myself, and then the guys in the playoffs that are trying to get through. You got some that must win. You got some that are trying to get some good points, and you got some with nothing to lose. That is all about winning for them at this point of the year. So with the mixed up agendas, it definitely changes up super speedway racing, and we'll try to stay on the front end of that.
Well, thank you, buddy. We know you're going to be in the front of the pack. Have a good day today.
All right, thanks, brother. Have a good one.
So lucky to talk to Joey before the race. Thank you to this Coca-Cola cam. Going to be giving us some great shots today.
Yeah, Jeff, I mentioned earlier the craziness of Texas. We want to get a few updates on drivers, and for your driver, Dave, a very eventful Texas race.
It was, Rick. William Byron this week qualified 9th, but last week in Texas there were some problems that put him below the cut line to start this race. The problems were with Denny Hamlin, a little bit of scuffle off of turn 2, and then under caution, Byron decided to say a little something to Mr. Hamlin, which NASCAR didn't catch until after the race, really. They then penalized this week William Byron 25 points, which put him below the cut line. And he told us in pre-race today when we talked to him that he felt he needed to earn just a little bit more respect, that he had raced other drivers the way he'd want to be raced, but they hadn't necessarily treated him that way. He said, regarding the other drivers now, I know what to expect, and they know what to expect from me. Parker?
Well, Dave, and he and Denny Hamlin did speak after that incident. Denny Hamlin, as we noted in our pre-race, has been very outspoken this week about the officiating in the sport and the safety of this race car. So how does he focus on the task at hand here? Well, talking to his crew chief, Chris Gabard, he told me today is about risk versus reward for the 11 team. He said Denny Hamlin is one of the best at being in the middle of the pack and realizing it's too risky to be there. That's what he'll need coming in here only 15 points above the cut line to get that gain that they want in the points, Kim.
Well, Parker, starting behind Denny in row number 3 is playoff contender Chase Briscoe, and the team was very happy with Chase's 5th place qualifying position because they see it as an opportunity at the very beginning of these 500 miles to figure out where they stack up and what moves that Chase can make. Crew chief Johnny Klossmeyer told me they came into this weekend with the goal for Chase to take pushes better and lead better, and that good starting position will allow them to have a clearer understanding of that early in the race and use that knowledge throughout the rest of it, Marty.
Well, Kim, let's go back to the last Super Speedway race at Daytona just a couple of weeks ago. Remember, Ryan Blaney got in an early accident in that race, barely made it into the playoffs. And he told me earlier this week, he said part of that was actually my fault. I let a couple of moves go early in the race that I probably should have taken. And had I taken those moves, I never would have been in a position to be in that wreck in the first place and put us in danger of not making the playoffs. What will change today? He'll play the race way more aggressive from the start. From the green flag, expect Ryan Blaney to be aggressive with both blocks and the moves he makes. And Steve, maybe a good omen. Ryan Blaney and his team caught that they had a bad radio in the car. They actually changed it out here on pit road. NASCAR allowed them to get a spot back. I say a good omen because they caught it before the race started at a 2.66 mile racetrack. You don't need a bad radio inside the car for the driver.
Good omen, but nerve-wracking, right? That's one area of the car you don't want to go out here at plate racing.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. And now we've talked a lot about numbers. 2.66. How about the last 500-mile race? Break the race down for us.
Yeah, 188 laps does make up that 500 miles. Stage 1 and stage 2, both 60 laps. Final stage 68. So really 3 pretty even stages, and all 3 longer than the fuel window. 40 to 45 laps. I expect to see some green flag pit stops. That has been consistent with the Speedway racing, and that pit road speed to go from 200 down to 55. It's easy to get on pit road a little bit too quick. We'll see how they navigate through it. So Dale had mentioned it. Talladega racing, one of the big things we've seen this year is pushes and pushes gone wrong. Why is that? Let's take a look at our Toyota virtual car. Jeff Jr., let's take a little bit of a closer look to these bumpers, the shape of the bumpers, and why it's so difficult. For that, Jeff, we're going to bring in a second car. Let's bring in your on-track car to join our virtual car.
Yeah, here I come. I want to push that car in front of me. I want to lock bumpers. It's going to make us go faster. That sounds simple until we take a look at the bumpers. Look at that rear bumper, how round it is. Look at the front bumper. It's round, and there's different shapes between manufacturers. So if you don't line these rear bumpers up, Junior, while you're pushing, you got a problem.
Yeah, that Toyota, I mean, it has these little fangs on it on the sides. And if you get offset and steer your car, if you drive your car to the left or right while you're pushing, it without a doubt will spin the leading car. That is the biggest problem. As you see, also, the noses don't always match up. I think the Fords have the best setup with the front bumper and the rear bumper being the most simple and plain to be able to use that push. The Toyotas and the Chevys have made some gains. They have set their cars up to handle being pushed better, but the nose is still not quite lining up as well.
Yeah, it's an artwork too, right? Because I want you to push, but now don't forget, I can't have the engine run too hot. So there's a lot of responsibilities while you're in this pack of trying to not only go forward, but you also have to take care of your equipment.
I want to bring Parker Kligerman back in. Parker, 550 miles yesterday in the truck race and the Xfinity race. You've got a lot of experience in this area.
Right, Rick. It was a lot of fun, and thank you to everyone at NBC for letting me do that. But look at that flag right there. See how straight it is? That is the wind gust that these drivers are about to experience, which is another factor they're going to have to deal with. And how does that affect the race cars? It just makes more turbulent air. It moves the cars around. It makes it harder to follow other cars and to have sort of a smooth line. So as you see those flags going off into turn 3, it's basically a headwind down the backstretch, but that means they'll cross over these cars. They go right there into turns 3 and 4, and that could be really scary for some of these drivers if you get that wind in the wrong place.
9th and 6th for Parker yesterday in 2 races. Let's have a look at the Ruoff Mortgage Keys to Victory Lane.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. What that means is if you're going to learn what your car can do, start from the very beginning of the race and be doing that all race long. Learn what that car's capable of, so when you want to make the move at the end of the race, you know how to do it.
We've seen a lot of big wrecks here that could end your day, so being that's the case, it's important to maximize stage points. If those points are out there, you better go get them.
Rick, don't beat yourself. We talk about the big wrecks, we talk about everything outside your control. Well, there's a lot inside your control. Don't speed on pit road, no mistakes on pit road, clear communication with your spotter. It's tough enough. Don't make it any tougher by making mistakes.
Over 100,000 fans in attendance here at Talladega Superspeedway. It's race number 2. Round number 2, an automatic bid to the next round is on the line for the playoff drivers. And we're underway from Talladega.
You already see Eric Almirola surging ahead, having pushed the 5 car into the lead. But now he takes the lead as well from that outside line. He goes down to the bottom of the racetrack. Watch that outside line. That's how I got the lead, so I'm going to be watching that outside line to continue to move forward. Here they come.
That patriotic paint scheme of the one of Ross Chastain pushed the 10 up front, but now Ross Chastain on the outside fighting for the lead.
Early in this race, Eric Almirola decided not to go up there and block that run. As this race progresses, he would have made a much more aggressive move to prevent that run coming from the outside lane.
And his patience right now is getting some help from that bottom line. Now he moves up into the high groove on the back straightaway. Pretty smart move there, but he can't really block that all day long. Here they come to the outside, side by side for the lead. Chastain with a little gap back to him, so his help's not there. It's going to be good for the bottom groove.
Remember, this is the first time these cars have been on the racetrack in traffic. Yesterday, they ran just qualifying laps, no practice whatsoever.
Good job by Eric, kind of controlling this lead. Move back and forth in front of each line. Whichever one's moving forward, get that information from your spotter, pick it up in the mirror, and get in front of that line. Get the energy from that line to push you forward, help you maintain the speed in your car so you can lead this race.
Junior, you mentioned spotters. They're above us, our broadcast position. And when they see these cars go down the backstretch and even into turn 3, they're 3/4 of a mile away from them, trying to tell these drivers what to do and how much gap they have in between each other.
Big push here. Chastain into the lead. He's going to stay in this outside line with the help that got him there. Eric Jones, here comes the 10 back to the inside. Almirola with little help from the 5 car. A lot of cars pushing pretty aggressively down that backstretch. Here comes that outside line again. Back and forth they go. The ebb and flow of Superspeedway racing.
That time Ross Chastain was in front at the line.
If you're back there in the 5th, 6th, 7th row, you're trying to learn which lane is going to be the best. Right now, you're just kind of sitting, waiting, trying to push the guy in front of you, trying to get your line with some momentum to move forward, but you're learning right now so you can apply it later in the race.
I like Chastain's commitment to that top line. I think he's staying committed there because he also has his teammate Suarez back there in the 3rd position of the 2nd outside row in the purple 99 car. Going to stay committed to the Chevrolets he has lined up with him in this outside line. The 9 car back there as well. 4 Chevrolets in the outside line working together.
Yeah, somebody popped 3 wide on the outside, back in the back of this pack.
You get some big, big runs being way back in this pack underneath that sort of big old parachute of air, big, big drafts. And it's so easy to want to take those runs because they're massive. What do you got to lose? We ride on the Xfinity Mobile Cam off the back bumper of Chastain. Here comes another push from the 43 of Jones. Whoa! That's a big contact right there. Pretty aggressive push, but look, it puts them both out front. They're both going to stay in this middle line, though. Is that surprising? I think they like the momentum they're able to create running this higher line. Challenging that bottom groove to get together or work together to come back. Man, I'm clear, but I'm going to stay here. I like that. Kim.
And you saw that big push from Eric Jones to Ross Chastain. You're seeing it again now. I talked to Ross this morning about how he feels about getting pushes, and he said, man, the car is so sketchy when you're being pushed, especially the Chevrolets, but it's a fine line. So you want to be pushed, but it's so easy to lose it. We've got to figure out early what we can do, and you're seeing that right now from Chastain and Eric Jones.
While the Toyotas and the Fords have a big back bumper, it's probably about a foot tall, a lot of room, a lot of mass, and surface to push. The Chevrolet has a very tiny lip around the bottom of the rear bumper. It's about an inch tall. That is the only surface that they will make contact with when pushing a Chevrolet. That car is entirely uncomfortable when being shoved by another car. They've made some gains since February in Daytona, but it's still not perfect.
See this third lane on the outside. Not real sure what they're doing, if they're being cautious and kind of working themselves to the back, or if they are trying to get that third lane working. Toyota Cam here with Bubba Wallace.
I think you got to look at the two guys that are there. You got the 31 car right there and Bubba Wallace as well. Two guys, really, what do they got to lose? Get up there and try this and see how far we can go. We'll work together. Going to have somebody join them as well. Hemrick's going to jump up there. Let's see what we can do up here, guys. I think that's the mentality of that third groove. Better than sitting in line, half throttle, waiting on these guys in front of you to do something. You're not going to go anywhere doing that.
And everybody in that outside line, their spotter right now is talking to them. There's a third lane forming. We will keep you informed. If they start making some momentum, you may need to jump in front of them to be the first car leading that outside line.
Outside line trying to move. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Talladega. It's Yellawood 500.
under caution for debris. The debris, watch this, the 42 of Ty Dillon down the backstretch and out blows the right side window. A major issue for the 42. You can't legally continue without that window. And with this early caution, busy on pit road, Marty.
Yeah, handful of pit stops. Kyle Larson coming, going to be fuel only here, so C51 to go. They would not be able to make it to the end of stage one, but certainly would be able to make their stop that they will have to make later much shorter by taking the fuel on here.
That's right, Rick. Less fuel, less time on pit road. Hey, prepared. 42, fresh right side window.
Grab a nice cold Coke and buckle up. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Credit One Bank and American Express are giving you the opportunity of a lifetime. Enter for your chance to win tickets to the Daytona 500 for 25 years. Dave.
You saw Daniel Suarez take a swig of that Coca-Cola. He runs in fourth right now in the purple Tootsie's car, and he could take a swig of Coke right now because his ride quality is so good. That was one of the reports that he had for his crew chief when asked. He did not pit this time. They'll stay out for now, try to get those stage points at the end of stage one.
We saw guys come onto pit road, Steve, so he's thinking that he's going to make it all the way to the end of the stage?
Well, so we expect the guys can go from like 40 to 45 laps. That's a big window at a 2.5-mile racetrack, but what I'm hearing from the garage area is back in the traffic, you can actually ride a little bit part throttle. The draft is so big that, you know, got to take the green flag here with 49 laps to go. I don't know if anybody's courageous enough, but it's going to be a much shorter pit stop, and if you get another quick yellow, maybe you could save gas there. Kim?
I talked to Joey Logano this morning about where he wants to be early in the race. And he said, you know, I've been wrecked leading, in the middle, in the back. Right now he's paying attention to what the field is doing. Take a listen.
Racing pretty hard already up there, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it'd calm down, and then the outside line would push hard again to draw back even. So, yeah, typical aggressive pushes to get to the front.
So Joey Logano, again, trying to figure out where he wants to be with 50 to go in this stage.
Pace car makes its way onto pit road. Ross Chastain bring the field back, and we'll bring the field through the Geico restart zone as we get ready to get back underway. Up through the gears they go. Ross Chastain dives in front of the 43 of Eric Jones to stop the momentum of that lower line.
leaves his teammate momentarily, but he's going to come back up here, pick him back up. They're going to move down this back straightaway because that outside line's got the momentum. How many can they push ahead of that 43? Right now, just 2. Here comes that inside line back.
Tool and equipment on board here of Chase Briscoe as we're right on the racing surface.
It's a great shot. You can even hear the throttle wide open most of the time, but you kind of heard a little bit of part throttle right there, maybe just controlling those pushes, controlling the runs.
Chastain led only the final lap here in April, and now already he's been out front 8 of the 12 laps complete.
Track position is so important right now, Rick, for this first stage. Look, where can you go? If you're in 15th, 14th, you're back there several rows, nowhere to go. You got a car in front of you. So you're kind of handicapped on how much you really can do to try to move yourself forward and try to get those stage points. Every lap that goes by, gets harder and harder to be able to move forward. That third line forming is an opportunity, but you got to have a lot of cars up there, Jeff, to get it going.
Yeah, somebody's got to go up there, and then immediately multiple people have to go with you. If you can catch these lines where they get checked up, getting in the corner, sometimes they'll get in the corner and somebody will do something, everybody's got to get off the gas. That's an opportunity to jump out of line because you got momentum. And then people got to go with you, though, and that's the fear, is making that move and nobody going, and then if that's the case, going all the way to the back.
Everybody doing a really good job, too, at protecting the middle. There's no opportunity for somebody to kind of get up in the middle of the racetrack here and try to put somebody 3 wide, shuffle them out of that middle groove. Everybody's staying pretty committed to each other.
Junior talked about pushing and how important it is to push. As you're watching these cars, look at Chase Elliott down there in the 3rd row at the bottom. When he's behind Eric Almirola, he doesn't really know how close Eric Almirola is to that car in front of him. And that's when we see a lot of problems happen. You don't realize that guy's pushing hard, and you're pushing him really hard, and you spin him out unintentionally. And that's where the spotters have to be given that information. Hey, the guy's right in front. He's got 1 car length. He's pushing him. You got to give that information so that driver knows what he can do. Parker.
Guys, just check in with the 48 car currently being driven by Noah Gragson, who's filling in for Alex Bowman, who's out with concussion symptoms after his wreck at Texas. And I had an interesting conversation with the crew chief of that 48 car, Greg Ives, who told me, you know, we actually worked on the interior here of Noah Gragson and that 62 car Beard Motorsports that he was supposed to be in, who Justin Allgaier is going in, because he said, I owe it to Jason Burdett, who's Justin Allgaier's crew chief, and Luke Lambert, who's Noah Gregson's crew chief, in the Xfinity Series to take care of these drivers at Talladega in this Super Speedway race to make sure they're comfortable, because they are doing us a favor. And Noah Gragson so far running the top 20, and his only comments on the radio were it felt like a truck race out there because they're running 2 by 2 so many rows deep.
One thing you'll see that catches your eye a little bit is the hood flaps popping up on these cars. You get into the tight draft, the pressure under the hood becomes bigger than the pressure on top of the hood. That flap will pop up, as you see on the 9 car Chase Elliott. Happening a little bit there. Typically, that's not an issue until maybe that gets really violent in some situations, and they have damaged those in the past. See the 99 car on the outside row there. He is popping up on that left side as he's tucked up tight behind his teammate.
And Steve is finally has that in. We see them bouncing. Sometimes we've seen them fly off. Those aren't required parts. They don't have to be replaced. Is that correct?
Yeah, you don't have to replace them. You just can't tape them shut. If you have some damage, they have to be either wide open or operational. It's an important safety factor to keep the cars on the ground in case of a big accident. But you don't want to have that hole open if you can prevent it. It definitely increases some drag when you're leading and don't have a car to follow.
The other challenge, too, for that, Steve, is the driver himself. Visually, it is an obstruction, and they are bigger than they were last year. So it's a bigger obstruction to be able to see exactly what's going on in front of you. A little bit of a distraction. But sometimes when that left one's popping up, that's directly in front of the race car driver.
We're seeing out of Eric Almirola right now in the 10, who gives a big push to Eric Jones, who gets out front, clears the outside line.
Eric Almirola's had a really good year. KGMS entry.
Here comes that outside line. Yeah. You know, the 43, no stranger to the front of the pack at super speedways. He was up front in Daytona just a few weeks ago. He's had a great car when we come to these type of racetracks. But again, there's not a lot of changes in positions as far as looking at the lines. Everybody is staying in line. So there is no change of positions except for just at the front of the field while everybody sort of stays committed to each other. Wondering when that's going to go away. When guys that really need those stage points that aren't in the top 10 are going to have to figure out what to do to get there.
Well, that's your point, right? Stage points. Look at the playoff points on the bottom left. Cindric minus 32. One big reason is because he's 31st. He was speeding under that caution period. I don't know if that bothered him. He was maybe going to go to the back anyway, but now he's outside the top 25. Very organized 2x2. I mean, he's hoping that this field kind of gets turned upside down during the pit cycle, because right now, I'm not sure what strategy he has to try to go by these cars when everything's clogged up around the bottom. Marty.
Steve Jr. brought up a great point about Erik Jones really knowing what he's doing at these super speedway races. In fact, when Dave Ellens came over to this program, he knew right away, I know Erik Jones is a terrific super speedway racer, so I'm going to put some emphasis on this new car and helping Erik be even better. You see that? 5 Talladega top 10 finishes and 4 in the last 5 races. So Steve, with this new car, what nuances can the crew chief do to make the car just a little bit quicker?
Well, there's a lot of adjustment in this car, to be quite honest. Really, when you come here to the speedways, right? The suspension settings are still wide open. You could do kind of whatever you want. So how aggressively you run the car, just a physical height off the ground can decide speed versus handling. And handling is not something we normally hear in Talladega, but between a little bit of the content, the bumps at the racetrack, and you see how light the track is. Tire wear has been a conversation both in trucks and Xfinity. We'll just have to see how these Goodyear tires on the next-gen car wear today.
They stay side by side up front. Erik Jones, Ross Chastain trading lead back and forth. Elevate your taste buds with the new Sonic Chop House cheeseburger, decadently layered with crispy onion strings and creamy Chop House aioli over an all-beef patty with 2 slices of American cheese and served on a toasted brioche bun. For a limited time at Sonic. Make sure to download the official app of NASCAR and follow the action with free live scoring. There's in-car cameras as well as radio broadcasts. Search NASCAR in your app store to download and start a free trial today. We look down on Talladega Superspeedway. Aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. And out front, it's Eric Jones. Big wreck back there. That's Harrison Burton in the 21 and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 47. There was a third line forming, and it looks as though guys were indecisive if they were going to jump into it or not.
Yeah, the replay will show, but a car on the third lane up by the wall was the first one to get turned around, kind of mid-pack.
It looked like the 21 of Harrison Burton was sideways turned around.
We were sitting here watching, and coming off of turn 2, that outside line was moving and got past Harrison. He passes them back in turn 3 and 4 and said, you know what, I think I'm gonna get in front of that line. They're going somewhere. Does that down the front straightaway, then it looks like he might have got a bad push going into turn number 1 that turned him around.
Well, you showed us those curved bumpers at the start of the race. We'll see if that was the case here, right? Was it a contact on a quarter panel, or was it two bumpers pushing that just weren't aligned? Let's take a look there, guys.
Here we go. Burton's in this 21 car. He's going to pull up in front of the 47 and say, hey, man, I'm going to join this outside line, guys. I like what you're doing. I'm going to get up here. Let's move forward. There's a push right there that kind of gets him out of control, and he never recovers. I think, you know, he's so out of shape inside the car, he's kind of coming off the gas a little bit. At least the car looks like it's slowing down tremendously as he's trying to gather control from that push he gets from Stenhouse.
You said it, Junior, before the race. Almost all the wrecks right there, that's where it starts. Almost all of these wrecks start from being pushed.
Joe Logano also involved in this in the 22. You see right there, had some damage. Kim.
And he didn't think the damage was too bad when he came on the radio, but he was on the radio about 5 laps before that asking when he could get out of the scrum. He did not feel safe with how aggressively guys were racing in that third line coming in. So he saw what was coming, unfortunately couldn't get out in quick enough time. You see them right now working on the left side of that car. Very minor damage though for Joey Logano.
Listen in to Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s audio.
Finally had it rolling and he just pulled up and couldn't handle our push there.
Yeah, I know. People have no momentum and pull right up in front of the train.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that. I mean, anybody that pulls in front of the line, yes, they don't have momentum, but it's your role as the guy that's going to push that car to now help him get that momentum going. And the first time you hit him needs to be a little conservative. And you need to start working throughout the next lap to try to get that new lead car up to speed.
Straight. Coming back down the track. Low, lock it down. Straight. Back left. Turn it left. We got sub damage, guys, right in front.
We're going to have guys pulling up in front of, you know, lines all day long, and it's going to be important for that car that is going to make that push to be able to push carefully, conservatively.
Caution 2 has come out here at Talladega. Quite a few cars caught up in this one.
caution underway. Stops already started. Ross Chastain, 2 tires, Sunoco fuel, Dave.
No tires for Daniel Suarez, but because he didn't come out on the first caution, he needed more fuel. He came in 4th, Parker.
And no issues for Chase Elliott is what he reported his crew chief Alan Gustin, Marty.
Nice run for Eric Jones so far, led 9 laps, but Dave Ellen's making the call here for 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Going to give up some track position, but maybe that fresh rubber will wind up helping out. Kyle Busch gains 8 spots here on pit road. 34 to go in stage 1 at Talladega.
Back at Talladega, we see Bowman on the windshield there, but that's not actually Alex Bowman that's driving this car. It's Noah Gragson. He was involved in this accident just recently, but the reason Bowman's not in the in this car today is because of the accident he was involved in last week at Texas, and it has been a very big topic, not only in NASCAR, but sports all over. Tua Tagovailoa was involved in an accident, obviously on the gridiron this last weekend, and we watched this, and this is the hit that took Alex Bowman out from behind the wheel. Listen in to the audio from the 48.
Hang on to it, head back, head back. Keep it up there, keep it up there. We're in the wall, guys, keep it up there. Let the field come by before you come down pit road. Hang on a sec here.
Done. I can't drive the rest of the day. I don't understand how this thing's still rolling. That's the hardest I've crashed anything in my entire life.
10-4. You just hit in the worst spot on these cars, bud.
And again, that was last week at Texas. That's why Alex Bowman isn't in the car this week. Junior, you have experienced this, and it has become a huge story, not only this week, but all season.
Yeah, it's difficult to see these drivers dealing with these issues, and we just hope that Alex is going to get the right attention and the right rehab and be able to get himself back to good. And he's obviously very smart to take himself out of the car. This is a guy, I believe, that middle of the week said, hey, I think I got an issue. And that sets an incredible example for everyone else out there racing today, no matter whether they're a Cup driver or racing at your local racetrack. You don't feel right, you'll know it. You'll immediately know that you're not 100%. And that's the time when you need to get yourself in front of a doctor. And that's the way to get back into the seat of this race car, is to get that treatment. Going out there and racing hurt is a way to be injured again quickly and even more severely for a long-term situation of being out of the car. I experienced all of that and learned more than I ever wanted to know about this type of situation. So we're hoping that everything is going to work out for Alex and he'll be back with us. Same thing for Kurt. Kurt Busch has been doing this a long time, and he's learning things about concussions, his body, and we're hoping that those guys can get back. We're hoping also NASCAR is taking this opportunity to learn about how to improve these race cars. We've made, look at the right side of this headrest, how thick that is. That's gotten bigger and bigger and wider because what we learned about hits, especially the right front hits. We're learning now that these hits to the back of the helmet, the back of the headrest, need to be looked at a little more severely. How that hits around can be improved even more. It's a never-ending quest to make these cars safer, especially for the heads and the helmets and the headrests themselves.
And you talk about that foam, see how much foam's on the right side of the head, how much foam's on the left side of the head. There's not enough room for more foam behind the head. So there is foam back there, but not as much as on the left and the right, which is why the crushability of the car in the back is being worked on to be improved. The back of the car needs to crush, fold away, so the driver doesn't feel all of that impact.
Yeah, and Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, they have been the most vocal drivers at the forefront of trying to get that change implemented. As we get back to racing here at Talladega, there will be 31 laps to go in stage 1.
With 31 laps to go now, all of these drivers that have come to pit road can make it to the end of this stage on fuel. That's why you saw all those gas only and 2-tire stops trying to get track position. Now 31 laps for the drivers to try to find their way to the front before the end of this stage.
Suarez getting a push in the 99 from the 9 of Chase Elliott.
Chase is doing a lot of hard work to try to stay as close as he can to this 99 so he can begin pushing right now. As soon as they get straight on this straightaway, he can get back to the back bumper of that car and do more work down the straightaway. They're very uncomfortable to push in the corners. They will not do that, but they want to be very close so when they are back on the straightaway, the pushing can begin immediately. So he'll stay right on the back bumper of that car if possible. Parker.
Well, Dale, I had this conversation with Chase Elliott earlier today just about bump drafting and how you approach it in this car. And he said, you know, in the old cars, you could offset through the corner. You kind of push on the right side. You never wanted to push on the left side as he dives to the bottom there on swerves and gets a push from Kyle Busch in the 18. But he said, now, as you mentioned, you have to be square. And even if you push in the corners, you just have to be square. He said it's very unique where you just have to line up perfectly with that car in front of you and push them any offset at all. And that's an issue, as you saw him use that to his advantage and now take the lead.
Most popular driver when he takes the lead at any racetrack. The crowd roars. Chase Elliott in front here at Talladega.
And the crowd will like that. Chase Elliott. Ton of fans here. An aggressive move to get to the bottom to lead that line. Right here you see it. We talked about how soon can you move down in front of somebody. What does this guy behind you have to do? See, Kyle Busch gets a run right here. Chase Elliott sees it. He goes down. Kyle Busch eases into the back of Chase Elliott. That prevents from wrecking Chase Elliott and ultimately gets him in front of that outside line.
And the two cars advance. So right now the 18 of Kyle Busch has cleared that outside line, as has the 12 of Ryan Blaney. That lower line working well together.
Yeah, there's some smart guys working in that lower line, Rick. They're going to be tough to beat, but that outside line trying to form. And it's going to happen because Eric Almirola is pushing this 99 car for all he's worth, trying to work this car back up toward the front, and it's happening. They're back alongside the 12 car. Marty, what you got on that 12?
Boy, Ryan Blaney third in line there on the bottom in the yellow car. And Junior, he has talked a lot about the ride quality, saying it's maybe the worst he's ever felt at Talladega. I know Steve says it's not a ride contest, it's a speed contest. But at 200 miles an hour, if the ride quality, Junior, is that rough, how would that affect you in the draft?
Well, it'd make your car faster because you're trying to get that car as low as you can. They've been doing that here for decades, running really high rebound shocks to where the cars are just impossible to drive, but they go so fast that you have to try to run everything you can to be able to put speed in the car, but it makes it very uncomfortable, and you get very limited time, Dave, inside the car in these type of race conditions with those uncomfortable ride qualities.
So, Junior and Burton, I'm wondering about the mentality of Daniel Suarez. He did not block aggressively on Chase Elliott. Remember, you guys talked about the bumpers on the Chevys. Not a great idea, perhaps, when he knew that if he stayed in the line he was in, he'd have a flatter bumpered Mustang behind him coming up in Almirola. And here he is again battling for the lead.
Great point, Dave. Picking the car that you will want to push you, because a lot of times you don't get to choose who's pushing you, and you might not like that guy back there. You might not like the way he pushes you, the way he drives, what his car is shaped like. So when you can choose, makes you more comfortable, more confident in being able to make moves.
Well, playoff drivers and points so important. Let's listen in to Joey Logano and their thoughts.
Okay, now what do we do? I knew it was stupid being up there. What do we do now?
We've got to work our way back up there if we want to get stage points, right?
Yes.
All right, so what are we going to do? He means that we're going to be aggressive. We need to get some stage points. So for playoff drivers, points are the gold you have to find at the end of the stages. But after that wreck, there has been a change of strategy. Look at this lead pack. Too wide, but smaller. Off in the distance, you're going to see a single line of cars way back there, almost the backstretch back, as we see more dicing up front, Junior. About 10 cars have said enough. We're going to cruise at the back.
Christopher Bell gets put out of line by the 24 William Byron. William goes to the middle. That's going to take a little energy out of this outside line. You just see them falling back a little bit to Chase Elliott and the 99 as well, but they'll regroup. The 99 is going to get up here. Where is the 10 going? He's going to give that 11 car of Denny Hamlin an opportunity to put him 3 wide, and he will be going to the back with Christopher Bell as well. He's got to protect that middle a little bit more.
Looked like the 10 of Eric Almirola didn't want to be blocked, so he was moving up the racetrack, not giving the 99 the chance to get in front of him. And now it's Eric Almirola who's in front of the field here at Talladega, and he moves to the bottom.
See Eric's going from the inside line to the outside line. He's trying to predict which lane has the most momentum. He's being pushed hard right here, almost spun him around.
Listen to the 10 spotter.
outside 24. One to the 99. Half. Both rows are even, about 12 of you in each lane here. 24 more. One back. 24 is trying to side draft that normal kid stuff. Still there, 24. Half to the 99. 24, trying to be tight down on you. Half to the 99. Still outside. 99 coming up to you now, not pushing him. Somebody, you're good now, he's pushing you. Nobody on him, top three are pushing each other. Still
Joel
on you.
Edmonds
Now
right there doing the spotting for Eric Almirola, and it looks like Eric Almirola has an uncomfortable ride up front of that 99.
I'm surprised, though, to see Eric up here. This is typically the way Joey runs, where he's always racing in the front of the pack, trying to lead every lap, and Almirola is typically more timid, more careful, always there at the end of the race, not really racing up front for stage points. So it's interesting how these drivers come to this racetrack with a different plan, a different agenda every time they race here.
Yeah, look at that front row. See Denny Hamlin in that 11 car. He was being pushed by William Byron behind him. Remember last week they had the incident. We talked to Denny Hamlin before the race. We talked to William Byron before the race also. I think both of those guys have put that behind them. Now they're working together, trying to help each other get to the front of this pack.
And I'm impressed by William. You know, a lot of guys have been kind of forced to sit in line, not really anywhere to go, but he's actually improved his position with some great moves up through the middle.
Everybody fighting to be in the top 10 at the end of stage 1 for stage points. 19 laps to go in stage 1. NASCAR Cup Series playoffs on NBC, the Yellawood 500. The mind-blowing Ford F-150 Lightning is here. You could win one during the NASCAR playoffs. You can scan the QR code now or visit NASCAR.com/Ford playoffs promo to get your chance to win the most innovative F-150 Ford has ever built. Looking off of the hood of Austin Cindric, Ford Performance Cam. Cindric right now a little bit further back in the field at 15.
If he's dropping back further, this outside line, Rick, has not got a lot of momentum. A lot of guys have actually bailed on it. You see the leader of that outside line appears to be Cole Custer. Actually, Cole Custer at the outside line. Now here they come. 43 car pushing him along.
William Byron saw it. He jumped out in front of it. Now Denny Hamlin sees the momentum as well. He goes up to block.
Denny allows that 10 car to come up alongside, but he knows he's got some great help behind him. Going to send him down this back straightaway. Should be back into the lead here.
As the laps continue to get clicked off here, the aggression and the pushing is going to go higher. You want to start pushing more. You want to start trying to get yourself clear of the line that you're next to. You do that by pushing that guy in front of
you. Amazing the frustration from a week ago between William Byron and Denny Hamlin seems to have subsided, and now they're working together, trying to get to the front.
Really no choice. They have to work together in this situation. But if that 11 car moves up the racetrack and opens up that middle, you bet William Byron will be tempted to take it. Then he has to protect that center. Doesn't want to allow that 10 car to side draft him too much, so he's not right alongside the 10. But he doesn't want to leave enough room for a car to fit there for the 24 to dive in. Dave, what you got on the 99?
Second in line there in the purple 99, getting a little push from Chase Elliott right now. Remember, he led earlier, but then lost the lead when I believe his instincts told him to block the high line. Instead, he's getting information from spotter Frankie Kimmel that may change his mind next time.
Now pull the bottom here. Pull the bottom. Bottom is what I've been told on channel 2. Probably safest place not to get put 3 wide, right? So I think it's a smart call.
So the team talked to him off the channel so they wouldn't distract him, and as a group decided stick to the bottom for now, and you can see it's paid off for Suarez. He stayed up in that top group, Parker.
And Dave, as you see Denny Hamlin here fighting for the lead and trying to stay ahead of that 10 to 99. Dale, you noted how he wasn't side drafting that 10 really tightly. Well, his spotter, Chris Lambert, has been on the radio multiple times telling him how that 10 and 99 have very busy hands when they're pushing each other. It just looks really uncomfortable as we have a caution out.
The caution has come out now for the 3rd time, and this time it's the 7. Looks like Corey LaJoie with an issue. And he's going to slide into had a lot of damage to the right side of that car.
Yeah, the whole right side is destroyed. He was running in the second pack. That was about 9 seconds behind the leaders. So I'm not sure if there was contact that forced him into the wall or
cut a right front.
The right front's down. You heard him say cut a right front. I saw the right front's down on it.
Wonder if he either ran over some debris or was it a wear issue. We had a really high wear tire in the Truck Series race. And then in the Xfinity Series race, a lot of wear issues with that tire as well. But that improved throughout the event. Toward the end of the race, the wear was much improved on the Xfinity cars. This is a different tire entirely. And we wondered just how durable it might be. This racetrack's gotten much more abrasive as we're going to ride and see what happens to Corey. The right front just goes down. Looks kind of like a slow leak, not a pop or a tire explosion, not a tire coming apart violently. Kind of goes slowly up into the wall, Steve, like it just lost the air.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that looks to me like a cut tire, like something you run over on the racetrack and slowly loses air until it gets so low it can't hold the car up anymore. Unfortunate break for the 7. Heavy damage, though.
This was a previous caution where Harrison Burton moved out into that third line and got hit by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Spun, and so much being made of the rear end contact and hits that these drivers have taken. That's what the 21 does here when he gets into the wall moving there. But Harrison Burton, when he was checked and released from the infield care center, Kim Kuhn was there.
And Harrison Burton out of the infield care center. What happened?
Not really sure exactly what caused it. I pulled up in the third lane there, trying to get that lane seemed like it was kind of making some ground, and I was trying to get some track position there. So I pulled up. I'm not really a late block or anything, and just got hit. And when I got hit, I swapped ends and just couldn't save it. So I don't really understand why I spun out, or if it was a bad position to get pushed in or what. Just kind of surprised me, honestly. So frustrating. Obviously, it felt like we had a pretty decent car. Just kind of biding our time, and the one move I make, I guess I spin out. So that's never what you want.
So much has been made about the impacts these cars are taking. Could you feel anything?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's been a lot of that in the media and stuff, but, this wreck, I'm totally fine. Didn't hit anything really hard at all. So thankful for that. Thankful to keep going and trying to, work with everyone together to make that as good as we can, and, just proud to be in the series. So I want to stay in it and race in more races like this. So just sad to get out early.
Harrison Burton, okay, after a crash.
Unfortunate that was the second caution that Harrison was involved with. And we're in caution number 3 now.
That is an interesting situation that only happens really at Daytona and Talladega. Usually most of the wrecks you're going to be involved in are probably not going to be ones you start. And this place in Daytona, you'll find yourself in these moments giving those interviews while you can hear the rest of the field going around the track. It is the hardest feeling to handle as a driver, knowing that you don't get to continue, and you can hear the rest of the field getting to continue that race, and it happens so often here at Talladega and Daytona.
You could hear it in his voice, when he said it was the first move I made and now I'm out of the race. So very unfortunate for Harrison Burton. He is out of the race, as is Ty Gibbs, and now Corey LaJoie, the most recent that has brought out the third caution. He also is out of the race. We'll be back for the restart. Joined Peyton Manning and his brother Cooper for the ultimate quiz show. Rival colleges go head-to-head. Capital One College Bowl. Fridays at 8, 7 Central on NBC and streaming next day on Peacock. We had a few drivers come to pit road under this most recent caution. For an update, we go to Kim.
Ross Chastain in. This was a strategy call by crew chief Phil Surgeon. He didn't feel like they were in position to get stage points, so brought Ross down, took left side tires and set themselves up, Marty, to be in a good position after this stage.
Cliff Daniels calling Kyle Larson down pit road. Kim, right side tires only for them. Interesting move, Steve, by Christopher Bell. Adam Stevens, his crew chief, brought him down pit road. They were 14th and desperately need stage points. Now he'll restart 21st. He said, let them all wreck going for stage points. We're going to play it easy. We'll jump them on the next stage.
I guess someone is predicting that it might get a little more interesting here, maybe a little more anxiety. We have the 24 and the 11 on the front row, and hearing there might be a little teamwork between the two. Sure enough, the 11 is able to go in front of the 24 and get that front spot, and now the 24 pushing the 11.
We'll see that with teammates from time to time. They'll start side by side. They'll work together. The guy on the inside will drag back, let the guy on the outside get in front of him, and then pull down. And now they're both working together again. It's a crazy sport. Last week they hated each other. Well, now they love each other. Let's work together.
I was going to say, we got to remind people they're not teammates. They don't work for the same organization. They actually don't even have the same manufacturer.
To go in this stage. Things are getting ready to get interesting. Very unusual, though. Look how these packs have gotten spread out. That back in the back, I just think they've decided, you know what? We're not racing for stage points. We're going to let these guys battle out, thinking they're going to wreck.
And one of those cars is the 22 of Joey Lozano. On the radio earlier, we heard, get up there and get stage points. Right there he is. A little bit deeper in the field.
He's right around that position.
Close to it. Marty.
And look who he's found, his Team Penske teammate Ryan Blaney, right in front of him in that 12 car. There you see him on the outside there. So, Junior, I want to ask you a question. Blaney's saying, I can't push anyone. I need the 22 behind me. I need everyone to push me. So kind of define what Blaney's talking about. Doesn't feel like he's a good pusher today. He needs to be pushed by someone else.
That actually can depend on who is behind you. You are not going to be able to push the car in front of you without someone pushing your car. And maybe for the most of the part of this race, he's not really had someone that's that aggressive behind him to help him actually get to the car in front of him. So we know Joey is pretty aggressive, but you can see that bubble between those cars, or that distance between those cars, kind of staying the same. Joey's not really getting up there to that back bumper, the 12, and giving him the assist that maybe he wants.
Everything's got to work out right to be able to push. The closer you get to that car in front of you, the air now is blocked going to the radiator, into the front grille, and that blocks the air feeding the engine. And that actually takes some horsepower away from that engine. So it all has to work out just right for you to push.
Coming up on 8 laps to go in stage 1, side by side, still for the lead. Already 5 different drivers have been out front. Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, Eric Jones, Eric Almirola, and Chase Elliott.
So I'm watching Joey back there. Now they're to the outside of him. I think Joey being kind of passive, conservative here is going to hurt him as this outside line is going to form. He's losing more in more positions, now dropping well out of the top 10.
They were lining up in that third lane, and then several of them bailed out of it. The 12, the 18, they both jumped up there. Then they didn't get a good push, and now they fell back, and now that outside lane in the third lane lost some momentum. Now starting to build it back. The more forward they go, the more people want to jump in front of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to try to lead that line.
41 Cole Custer says, I'm done with this. I don't want to be pushed by the 9 anymore. Dives into the inside line into 4th position. Now leading the outside line here is Chase Elliott. Kyle Busch pushing him. Parker.
Yeah, that might have been the best thing to happen there for Chase Elliott, because it looked like many of the drivers and listening to the crew, the spotters up top were commenting how the 41 could not take the pushes from the 9, and now he's out of his way, and it's clear sailing ahead for the 9 and Chase Elliott.
That's a great point, Parker, man. You'll be pushing a guy, and every time you touch him, he wiggles, and he can't go forward, and you're scared to push him, so you're kind of stuck. Neither one of you can do anything. Let's listen to the 9 car.
Track position is going to be everything.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't, because everybody's playing super nice right now. But if they weren't, you wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't do you no good other than just, wreck the guy, I think.
All that conversation happening under the last caution. They're trying to form up some momentum here. Kyle Busch in the back of that 9 car, because they're not really going anywhere. If anything, they're losing positions here. Coming to 5 to go.
Should get a good run right here, though. Coming off turn 2, the 18 car is pushing the 9 car. They should get some good momentum into turn 3.
You see exactly where the 18 is on the back bumper. That is pretty much how you do it. It's either centered up or just a little bit to the right. Good push down the back straightaway. Now you need to get back to that back bumper on this front straightaway, right on this little short chute before the dog leg. Another push here.
And also, Chase Elliott ran right beside the 99 car to try to put some air on that spoiler of that 99 car to slow him down. That actually slowed the 9 down also, and that helped the 18 get to him.
They're Here comes that momentum, the 9 car and that outside line starting to move forward. Under 5 laps to go in stage 1.
And remember, you see that 24 car in second place. He was penalized after the race last week. These stage points are huge for him to try to earn those points back.
And I promise you, if the 9 car gets up there, that 24 is going to jump in front of him.
Right
there
there
it goes.
And the 11 does the same.
Oh,
now the 24 crossover to the inside is going to take the lead.
Worth the risk. Worth the risk. He jumped up there hoping to be able to push to the lead from the 9. Then he blocks it. He goes to the bottom. Absolutely worth the risk for Byron.
Now will that inside line keep this momentum up? Coming up on 4 laps to go here in stage 1.
If Byron gets even just a little clear, I would pull up in front of the 11. The speed's coming off of the back straightaway. Pull up in front of the 11 and get the push down the back straightaway. There he goes.
And here comes the push from the back. So now what's Hamlin going to do? Is he going to push or turn left? He'll have one more opportunity to turn left or right here. There he goes.
William just gets out of the way.
Yep.
I don't know why he did that.
I'm not sure he didn't get pushed out of the way.
Yeah,
I'm not so sure he didn't get hit in the right rear bumper, and it kind of put him there.
I think he'd been committed enough to Denny for most of this stage that I think Denny was willing to help him and push him. Denny did not go to the inside there, so either he was uncomfortable or just pulled out of the way there. Now the outside line.
It's not over for William Byron, though. If they can get some inside momentum, he can get some of these positions back. And remember, his teammate Chase Elliott, that 9 car, I don't suspect he's just going to ride there. I think if this inside lane starts coming, either the 18 or the 9 will go to the bottom and try to get that momentum. But right now, the top is building it.
Playoff drivers up front here. Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, all inside the top 10 with under 3 laps to go.
Yeah, not enough cars in that inside line, I don't believe, to be able to get up here and challenge for the lead. But at some point, like you said, Jeff, coming into the stage, that outside line is coming to the bottom. They will jump into protect mode and get to the bottom of the racetrack. Likely on this final lap, 2 laps to go to the end of the stage.
Will the inside line have any momentum? Logano right now, and he thinks they may. He goes down just for a moment, but doesn't get in front of the 24 to block him.
Second guessed it. He thought he was going to do it, and then he didn't feel the momentum. He just felt like it wasn't going to go forward, so he jumped back in the outside, and it was a good choice. He still can go to the bottom now if he felt like he needed to. Big push coming right here. Noah Gregson blocked it late in that 48 car.
I kind of like it, though. Noah had a little bit of a run there, so he jumps kind of down on the nose of that 42, and they take some of that momentum. Let's see if they can keep it going. That outside line's pretty tight. The 18's going to the inside here. You can see it. You can see him tempted to go down there. That's going to bring Denny down.
1 lap to go in stage 1.
Oh, big block from Denny. The outside line had a big run there. Big block from him. That was a risky move, but it worked out for everybody.
How aggressive will they get with 1 turn remaining here in the last lap of stage 1? The 22 goes down. The 12 was going to try to block him. Up the racetrack, the 12 and the 2 go. Penske drivers all right next to each other. Denny Hamlin has a car link over Chase Elliott through 3 and 4 for the final time in stage 1. Now, big momentum out of the 12 and then high line. Can Blaney get up there? Through the dogleg for the final time with momentum. Here he comes. Ryan Blaney on the outside. What a run. Blaney gets to win stage 1.
They're saying the 12 got it.
Pretty exciting little race there for stage 1. We know the intensity builds up.
And we
every
saw that
stage.
move. We saw that move from William Byron. He got no stage points. Finished 11th.
A big run coming off turn 4, and it was that much. Less than 2 feet separating the 12 and the 11 for the stage 1 win. Ryan Blaney captures it. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Toyota, let's go places. Northern Tool and Equipment. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. And by Little Caesars. Try our large classic now with 33% more pepperoni. Pit stop's about to take place, and it's Blaney who's out front that will lead them onto pit road, and they're heading your way, Kim.
And Austin Cindric will pit from the 4th position. This will be a little bit of a longer stop for Austin. You see him on your top left. The right side window latch kept coming loose, so they are going to put the spare in for him. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, but he will wait on that window change, Parker.
And came for Chase Elliott there. He really liked the top lane. He said it gave me a lot of options. It's going to be 4 tires for him. And then the bottom left of your screen, Denny Hamlin, who narrowly missed winning that stage there. Just said the car is bouncing too much when he's in the lead. You're going to make a small air pressure adjustment for that, Marty.
On a day when they came in wanting stage points, Ryan Blaney maxes it out on stage 1. 10 stage points plus a playoff point as well. First fresh Goodyear tires of the day for them. And remember, a new Jackman and rear tire changer for Blaney. Very happy with the car, and congrats, Rick. Came to him from the boss man, Roger Penske, up top watching today.
Yeah, Marty, as chaotic as the racing is on the track, it was also coming off of pit road. Look at all the position changes. Stage 1 complete of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs on NBC, the Yellawood 500. Want to take a look at today's Northern Tool and Equipment race recap.
This last lap, stage points matter. Everybody got aggressive. Denny Hamlin jumped up in front of Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott was patient, stayed in line. Now everybody's trying to figure out what they're going to do down the back straightaway. You're going to see Joey Logano make some moves toward the end of the back straightaway, and then it looks like to me he tries to help his teammate, Junior.
Yeah, the 22 is going to go to the bottom, but also the 12 as well. Blaney's going to try to take that run, and then they sort of have a disagreement here on who's going to take the line. Finally, that actually pays off. They all get backed up out of the throttle and then create this huge run. Watch the outside line, the 2 cars, Cindric pushing the 12. They move out away from the inside line to stop the side draft. They create a ton of momentum here. There's really nothing Denny can do at this point. If he jumps in front of him, he gets run over. Little side draft late from the 12. Slingshots him right around Denny Hamlin for the stage win.
And Ryan Blaney gets the stage win, and Denny Hamlin lives to fight another day. He could have made that block, and that could have been the end of the race. Instead, he got stage points and has a chance to still get some more.
Well, you mentioned stage points. You see all the names in yellow. The top 5 in that stage, all playoff drivers. Larson as well, getting 3 stage points there for the 8th position. And that is important when it comes to the playoff leaderboard and where they currently see. You see Larson currently leading with a little bit of strategy under this yellow. Still very tight at the cut line with Briscoe and Byron. Guys, how did that stage finish? End of pit road down there in the pit box. That is a good place to watch these finishes from, Brad.
Man, that was outstanding. I mean, Ryan Blaney coming off of 4. He was 2 football fields behind Denny Hamlin. I didn't think there was any way he would even be in the conversation, and comes down the front straightaway and gets to the finish line first.
Listen, we heard Junior and Jeff and those guys talking about it up there. I thought they gave it up going into turn 3.
Yeah.
What? That run developed so fast. Now, let's be honest. What helps that run develop fast is the start-finish line is all the way down here, almost down here in turn 1. This isn't Daytona.
Right.
It's a different strategy. It's a different place to put yourself. The big winners for me were Logano, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin. Those guys were the big winners in that stage from stage points.
And everybody played pretty nice throughout that first stage. I can't wait to watch these next 60, though. Let's go, Rick.
Yeah, 9 1/1000ths of a second. That's what separated the 12 and 11 on the finish of stage 1. Playoffs, that's right. Things intensify. Parker.
Well, guys, we saw that move there by Ryan Blaney to get the stage win. Take a listen to the 11 teams radio after that all went down.
Lambert, just think through it, but at your point where you told him he wasn't going to get there, I thought there was a lot of racetrack left from my vantage point. So you guys just think about it, talk about it for later.
Denny knew that when he crossed the line, he sighed because his spotter there, Chris Lambert, told him off for turn 4, you're good. He obviously wasn't, just something for them to note as we get later in this race.
So Dale, you and I had this conversation, and I agree that for a stage win, that would have been an aggressive walk for Blaney. The question is, for a race win, are you turning right in front of the 12 and hope it works out? I think you about have to.
No question. I want my spotter to tell me that momentum from the top is coming so I can do something about it.
Field approaching the Geico restart zone as we get ready to start stage 2 here at Talladega. Stage 1 winner Ryan Blaney in the 12, pushing the 43 of Eric Jones. See a car jump out of line there and all the way up to the wall.
Noah Gragson hopping out of line for whatever reason there. Kyle Larson, a new player at the front. All of those guys, they ran it like a mini race. Fuel call, tire call, strategy call to be up front. Now you pay the penalty. On this last caution, you need more fuel. You need more tires. So now a mix of different players at the front.
Look at how much distance there is between the two cars on that bottom line. The 20 of Christopher Bell starting to close that gap a little bit. The 9. Here comes a push from the 22 and the 11 of Denny Hamlin. That's all going to get those guys a little tighter together. But while they're doing that, here comes this outside line. They're already organized from the restart, and that's going to put several of them ahead. What they choose to do now is important. Do they stay in this outside line, stay working together? No, they're going to dive to the bottom. Oh, the 12 of Blaney goes to the outside, gets the quarter panel inside, drafts the 43. He's going to take the lead off of turn 2.
New player up front here is the 4 of Kevin Harvick. He's the car right behind the 12 of Blaney, giving him that shove.
And what's going through this inside line's mind, all these drivers, we just saw a crazy end to stage 1. Is that going to continue through this entire race? Big push right there from Larson. Or is that outside line going to get better and start getting out to the wall and create a single file line? If you're late to that party, you will get hung out. You just never know what's going to happen. Got to be paying attention.
Kevin Harvick is aggressive with the push, right against the back bumper, almost pushing through the corner. Look how close he is trying to stay to the 12 car over the last half a lap. He has been right there, doing some really good work, trying to keep this lead for Blaney. Now he's back to the back bumper. He's going to try to stay close. Maybe even push him a little bit. Look how he's right in the back bumper. The only car we've really ever seen do much tandem pushing, drafting around the corner.
Junior, if you're uncomfortable as the lead car, do you wave to him? How do you tell him that you don't want him pushing you like that?
Well, just look at what they've done right there, Rick. How much they've pulled the inside line. It's broke them up a little bit. They're going to have to get to the bottom. As this inside line comes, they're all going to dive down there and take the energy off the inside line as well.
If you're being pushed too hard by a guy and you're uncomfortable, you got your hand up in the air, waving, trying to get his attention. Let him know it's too much.
Plus, this 4 car needs to watch the temp, Steve. He's one pushing more than anybody else we've seen for multiple laps in a row.
Yeah, just a little bit of offset. You see him kind of moving to that right rear corner, trying to keep it nice and stable on the 12. You wonder if he gets to the straightaway, if he's not going to poke out a little bit. He's trying to turn that 12 around, it seems.
So that is the very moment where we have problems in the transition. I think loaded in the corner, in the middle of the corner, you can push. You can push down the straightaway. It's that transition right there from straightaway to corner or from corner to straightaway. Right as that twist is happening in the banking is when the cars get uncomfortable.
Michael McDowell, the 34, also coming into the picture here. He's currently 3rd in line on that inside line. Now moving out of line, Eric Jones in the 43.
So we saw a lot of pushing from Kevin Harvick. He's offset to the right side of Ryan Blaney. Remember, Kevin Harvick has a lot of experience with tandem drafting, but see the 12 car moving around? But he was pushing on the right. That's why it didn't spin him out. If he didn't push on the left doing that, he would have spun him right around on the exit of turn 2.
Oh, and a big wiggle there as another hit. Makes it uncomfortable for the 12 of Blaney.
That was a situation where there were 3 cars touching bumper to bumper. That is very kind of uncommon, something we really don't see a lot of guys doing because they don't like to do it. But if you don't know, so if you're the 43 pushing the 4 and you don't know he's in the back of the 12, you're going to run in the back of him, push him into the 12. Dave, that can get very uncomfortable quickly.
Comfortable now with a little space between them. Did not take tires on that pit stop, being spotted by the veteran Tim Fedewa. As now you see they spread out there. Fedewa's been trying to get him back to the front ever since he complained he had nowhere to go in the last run. He was going forward. Now he's going backwards.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick just got hung out there. It got very chaotic up front.
Yeah, but still chaotic.
It's chaotic enough where Denny Hamlin said enough. He bailed completely out and went all the way to the back.
Now the 24, Byron, is the one who's in bad trouble right here. They all went and got behind the 4 car of Harvick, who was in the middle, and that leaves Byron all by himself. Now he goes to the back of this pack.
That might be the luckiest thing that happens to William Byron. He might want off this carnival ride. This thing is a little crazy for, I mean, we still got, you know, what, 50 laps to go in this stage. It's still a pit stop required.
We've wrecked less cars than we did at Daytona at this point in the race. These guys are having fun.
Well, it's fun when you're up here in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, I'm having a blast. Look at the 12, and now he's getting a challenge on the outside.
Oh!
They're into the wall.
Contact made there.
Keselowski up there trying to get to the quarter panel. He's not going to be happy about that.
Ryan Blaney looked as though he was going to block that run by Keselowski in the 6, and they went all the way up to the wall.
Look how aggressive this race has gotten. Look how hard the pushing has started. Kevin Harvick pushed Blaney. Everybody saw it. It was working, and now it's everywhere. Look at this move right here. Trying to get to the outside. Blaney with the block. Keselowski's like, hey, man, come on.
Let's listen to the 6 car.
Pissed off. Put the fail on this. It's absolutely stupid.
12 car jumps out of line here.
It's just gotten wild. It's gotten crazy. You heard Keselowski say it. What do you got? What do you got, Marty?
Ryan Blaney said the same exact thing. He said, I'm going to bail. This is getting too wild. So, Jeff, talk to me about the sense behind the wheel of knowing when enough's enough.
Well, we've seen it up here. It's 10 times more intense down there. Their heart rates are through the roof. They see the intensity picking up. They feel it. They can sense a wreck is just around the corner. And that's why we're seeing some of these experienced guys saying, enough, I'm getting out of it.
Wait a minute, no, hold on. No, Ryan Blaney, I know, bails like, oh, this is too crazy. He was the one doing the blocking. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Maybe he knew how lucky he had gotten.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he's like, whoo, got away with one. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead.
I got to be honest, man. I just don't know if you got that track position. How do you give it up? You cannot drive right back to the front whenever you feel like it. It is hard to be, look at this, 2x2x2x2. You're not going to drive back through the field. It's going to have to happen some other way. Parker.
And Dale, to that point, look at that 18 car right there on the bottom line, second car behind Eric Jones. He told me in speaking to the team, it sounded like they were going to take it easy at the beginning of these stages, but as this race has gone on, they've seen how important track position is, and you see Kyle Busch consistently fighting at the front even early on the stage right now just to keep that track position, Marty.
Parker right behind him in the other yellow car is Michael McDowell, terrific at the Super Speedway races. But Steve, we got to give an attaboy to his crew chief, Blake Harris. 3 times they have come down pit road to fix this car. McDowell saying almost undrivable. It was so darty, but they have made it much better. McDowell, as we expect, Dave, up here in the top 10 of the Super Speedway race.
Marty, his teammate Todd Gilliland has been down pit road 3 times. Twice they've taken on 4 Goodyear tires, and Todd feels good about his race car. He also feels good about racing these tracks, loves to do it, and right now shows why his Mustang runs 3rd.
And we see a lot of names in the top 10 of the younger drivers getting that experience. Todd Gilliland, we just heard about the 41 of Custer, 42 of Ty Dillon. McDowell always seems to be up there. Hemrick in the 16 cycles into the 8th position. We talk a lot about simulators and all kinds of tools to get better at racing and a lot of other racetracks. Guys, I don't know any other way. Watch video and take part in these lead packs. That's the only way, Junior, in my mind, you get better at this style of racing. You just have to give it a run, you know, and you may wreck, but that's part of being a young driver is learning.
I agree. I mean, you know, they're up there because a lot of people are choosing not to be up there, and I wonder if that comes back to haunt them at the end of this race.
You may get a better finish riding around behind all this mess. You may finish better, but what did you learn? If you're a young driver, you're trying to build a career, you're trying to just keep stacking information on top of it itself, trying to get better. You've got to get in here and race.
Eric Almirola, Kevin Harvick, 1 and 2 here at Talladega. For the first time, NASCAR fans can view every lap of NASCAR Cup Series races from inside the cockpit of any car they choose. Live in-car camera streams for the entire field. All you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app, either inside the car or well above the car, as we thank Geico for this shot from our aerial coverage. And 22-year-old from Sherrills Ford, North Carolina, driver of the 38, Todd Gilliland, was up front. He gets credited with leading a lap here at Talladega. And we mentioned, how do you learn? Well, you get up here in this front pack and you learn, and that's what the 22-year-old rookie is doing right now as he runs on that outside line in the 3rd spot. Marty.
There's just 3 playoff drivers in the top 10 right now. 41 points, though, or 41 laps, though, until stage points are given out. Talking to Kyle Larson this morning, Jeff, he talked about a lot of the playoff drivers bailing out of the pack and going to the very back. Denny Hamlin in 32nd right now. Larson told me with this new car, it's not like it used to be. You cannot run in the back and immediately charge up to the front. So why is that the case with this new car, that you can't do what you guys used to be able to do, ride in the back and make it to the front?
Well, that is a concern with riding in the back and not getting these stage points, is if you lose your track position, how do you ever get it back? And the only way you can get it back is if 3 wide works. You got to be able to have momentum. So far, we haven't seen really 3 wide have any momentum. It's been 2 wide, and it's very difficult with 2 wide lanes to make something, to go from 20th all the way to the front. See Bubba Wallace making an aggressive move right here, but these are the moves you need to be able to make when you're at the back, and then you got to have people go with you. And if they don't go with you, you just hung out here by yourself, and you go all the way back to the back.
The one thing I will add, though, Jeff, is with 40 to go in this stage, everyone has to come to pit road. So yesterday in the Xfinity Series race, we saw some groups much more efficient to come to pit road. I would expect to see these guys towards the back of the field get organized and kind of pull up to the leaders before they pit. Now, whether they're successful at that, we will see.
One thing about this car that makes it difficult to drive through the pack is how much drag this car has. So when you pull out a line, if you're going to try to form a third groove or something like that, go where everyone is not, you get so much drag on the car that it's difficult to make any headway.
Larson diving to the bottom line, just in front of the front bumper of Eric Jones in the 43, and slowly the top 2 will go down in front of Larson to block that momentum.
I think if you're here to points race or here to just get a top 10, absolutely right in the back will serve that purpose. If you have a lot of wrecks late in the race and you miss them, it's a much easier proposition to get that top 10. If you want to win this race, you're going to have to do what this 10 car, this 4 car, all these guys up front doing. That's trying to lead every lap, trying to stay at the very front of this field, controlling the race for the entirety of the event, keeping that track position all day long. You start fighting for that from lap 1 all the way to the very end of this race.
It wasn't that long ago that we thought the 4 was getting shuffled out. He got put to the middle, dropped back, but he's worked his way back up here to the front. Now Ford's working together. The top 3 are Ford, and Almirola, Harvick, and Gilliland. There are 15 Fords in the field, 16 Chevys, and 6 Toyotas. That's the manufacturer's makeup of this Talladega race.
A lot of guys lined up on this inside line. The outside line struggling a little bit. And look who's in front of it again, Cole Custer. They talked about how he was difficult to push, difficult to get going when he was leading this outside line before, and now he's back in front of it again. And these are the things you learn about the competitors throughout the race. So when you see this car later, you do not get behind him. If he gets this throughout the race, he's developing a reputation of either a fast car or a slow car, a car hard to push, car good to push, a good pusher. And so late in the race, you make choices personally by what you see that car do throughout the event. Unfortunately, if I see Cole Custer, I'm not getting behind him late in the race because I'm probably not going to go anywhere.
It's like a job interview. Trying to, like, man, you want to hire me? I'm your guy.
Yeah.
I'm your guy. When it comes to push comes to shove, I like you need to be your guy later.
Now, if Cole does get pushed to the front of the pack, he's going to remember who did it. He's going to be saying, hey, man, tell that guy Spotter we work really well together. Maybe we should team up a little later.
He's got teammates up there. He can get up with Almirola and Harvick, both from Stewart-Haas Racing. Let's go through the field, brought to you by DoorDash. And we'll begin with Parker.
Well, Rick, you guys were talking about who's pushing you. For Eric Almirola, he's very happy to see that 4 car behind him because he's talked about earlier in the race when he had the 99 of Suarez behind him, it just wasn't working. We've seen some cars when they push, they just get all squirrely and move around. Well, that was the case for him with the 99. He said, I don't want to be pushed by him anymore, but he's very happy being pushed by Kevin Harvick, his teammate right now, Dave.
And when you run as many of these races as Harvick has, you kind of know what you're doing. That's true also for his crew chief, Rodney Childers. It's Rodney's 600th Cup start today, and so they've seen this movie before. They know to be patient now, do what they can, but not worry about it for a while because the end of the race is a long way away. As for Todd Gilliland running in third in that red Mustang, you know, he kind of doesn't know what he doesn't know. He's 22. He's run well in the trucks on these kind of tracks. He runs well and in the Cup Series now, running in third here, holding his position. Marty?
Dave, when I met with with Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniels earlier today. I said, it's been a drama-free playoffs for you. He said, yep, drama-free, but we have not capitalized yet. We really have the car to win the last 2 races, and today, I think Kyle will be up front. He will put himself in a position. Larson, never known as the best super speedway racer, right now sitting in 4th. Eric Jones has really shown what he can do today. They are talking on the Jones radio about when they'll come down pit road for the stop here in stage 2, thinking about 12 to 14 laps or so, Parker.
And it's been interesting to watch Kyle Busch in that 18 car and who he's been mixing up there up front this race. As I mentioned earlier, he told me they would most likely hang back in these stages, but as it's thinned out, as the bottom has become the dominant line, he's slotted himself up here in the top 10. Has been very quiet in the radio so far. Happy with that race car, Marty.
Michael McDowell sitting in the 7th position. They asked him to describe the car a little while ago. He said, darty, but less darty than it was earlier in the race. I can't imagine a race car not handling well in a pack like this. But McDowell up front at Talladega, always good at these super speedways, Kim.
And Ross Chastain there in the 8th position said he was really happy with the car, otherwise has been quiet on the radio. I asked kind of what's their prerogative coming into this race, plus 25, and he said, we can be less aggressive trying to get stage points. Yes, we would love some, but we're not going to put ourselves in a bad position, Parker.
And for Chase Elliott, he's the 3rd of the playoff drivers in the top 10 there. And he told me in the pre-race, I'm going to go by my gut when I want to be up front and be aggressive versus maybe bailing out of that pack and being conservative. So far in this race, he's been aggressive from the drop there, finding his gut telling him to be up here on the bottom line and fighting for those stage points, Dave.
That silver and black number 8 is Tyler Reddick. No longer in the playoffs, but a race win? Absolutely. And can he do it from starting in the back of the pack? Yes, he can. Has made his way toward the front after starting in the rear after splitter damage during qualifying caused them to make repairs that were unapproved by NASCAR. That's why he started in the rear. Worked his way to the top 10, Rick.
Good job, guys, getting us through the top 10 there. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, Talladega. It's the Yellawood 500. From boating to off-roading and more, going fast doesn't stop at the track. So make sure to fuel your summer with a cooler full of ice-cold Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew. Get out and do. Eric Almirola is still up front. Harvick, Gilliland. They're the top 3. Then it's Larson and Eric Jones. Kyle Busch. That's that inside line. Now with Ross Chastain trying to get a little momentum going here. A lot of drivers, we were hearing communication of when am I coming to pit road? When should I be on pit road so that I can make it all the way to the end of stage 2?
And what you'll see,
well, go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, sorry. What you'll see, Steve, is that as they get closer to determine if they're going to pit or not, they'll start trying to get to the bottom, or they've been told we will not be the first group on pit road, and they'll stay in the outside lane. But those cars in the back, Steve, when you tell me, hey, we're 5 from pitting, I'm starting to close that gap. I'm going to get much closer to the cars in front of me before that pit stop to help so that when we all come out, we come out closer together.
So the other part of my communication, so I'm going to be real general. I'd be like, all right, man, we're like 5 or 6 away. Go ahead and tow up, get us a little bit closer so we can gain some time to come to pit road. But if you're also the guy on the outside, you can want to pit all you want, but if the guy to your left isn't coming, you're stuck in that outside lane. And that's the one phenomenon in this whole green flag cycle that I'm still not 100% on board with. These engineers don't want to say anything. Crew chiefs don't want to say anything. They try to make a last-minute decision. In one of these races, we're going to have somebody with too much information too late. And as they try to come to pit road, it's going to cause an accident, Kim.
And one thing they do is they'll try and put hand signals out, the drivers will, to let other drivers know that they will be pitting. Take a listen to the challenges Chase Briscoe's facing.
They're pitting because I won't be able to see their hands. Let them know when guys are pitting. We should be on the front side of it.
So Chase telling his team he cannot see those hand signals from the other drivers. How difficult is it to see some of those as Chase runs it in 31st position?
Yeah, you can't really see through the car in front of you to be able to see. You may be able to catch the guy in front of you waving if he's waving inside the car, outside the driver window, but that's pretty much it. Every other driver in front of you, you won't get that information, Marty.
And Junior, the other thing that Steve and the crew chiefs will do is they'll instant message each other over computer, trying to communicate when they'll come down pit road, tell their driver at the last second. Outside lane, you see Ryan Blaney still working with his teammate Joey Logano, trying to build some momentum. But is there damage on the 12 car? Listen to the radio.
I mean, I feel like I have damage. How draggy this thing is. Like the whole inside of the car was filled with air. I don't know what's going on, or I'm pretty odd.
And Steve, remember that contact with Brad Keselowski coming to the end of stage 1 there. So do you see any damage on the 12 car?
I really don't. I would expect to be around that right rear tire. And with that bright yellow paint scheme, you would think you'd be able to see a tire mark or some sort of damage if it was broken. I don't see anything obvious. Now, maybe he hit the body panel, pushed an inner panel in, and then the outside panel moves back to its original position. So maybe the damage he's feeling there, drivers, is air coming in between the body and some other closeout panels. That's the only thing that comes to mind, is maybe something, you know, below that paint scheme that we can't see, because there's like a little mark down there in the blue, but nothing that I think, you know, is hurting as far as exterior goes. The question is, has he done damage to something on the interior? As I see a lot of drivers working their way to the bottom, it seems like just got that feeling like pit stops are coming.
And positioning yourself either on the inside or outside when you come to pit road. We saw it yesterday in the Xfinity Series where drivers were trying to get to an early pit stall, but they were stuck on the outside. That's another thing that these drivers will have to think about when they come to pit road.
Well, almost every race at Daytona and Talladega, when you start having green flag stops, an incident happens. And you want to be as close to the guy in front of you as possible, even if you can pass him on the outside or the inside, get into pit road. What if your pit crew has a bad stop? Now you lose the draft. You leave pit road, you're all by yourself. Next thing you know, you're a lap down. So the entrance to pit road, that speed is critical to having a good pit stop and having a good whole sequence so you don't have a problem. But sometimes you get too aggressive when we see race.
Now a long line here on the bottom of the racetrack. Who's going to decide when they come to pit road?
You're looking for hands out the window, because that's really going to be the telltale sign. Another cheat is if you're up on the spotter stand, a good spotter starts waving, because as much as he cares about the strategy, his number one job is to make sure his driver doesn't get run over. So you're trying to wave to the other spotters so they know you're coming.
Steve, one of the other things I think that blew our minds when we were watching the Daytona race from earlier this year is that almost the whole field came at the same time, and that doesn't normally ever happen. But right now it's looking like this entire field, if they wanted, could come to pit road at the same time.
They could. Now, whether they all pull it off, who knows? I mean, Joey Logano with that very early pit stall, really tough to get into it. So you see the spotters on the bottom right there. How about the work they do in the binoculars, out of the binoculars, in and out? All right, so you see a hand now. We have a few cars coming to pit road. Small group has peeled off right here, mostly Fords. RFK and Team Penske, it looks like. Kim, fuel only on the 22?
Yep, you see Joey Logano, smooth entry to his box. Fuel only, they wiped off the ground. And Marty, he is down and away.
And this is what we talk about. All the Fords were supposed to pit together here. Ryan Blaney coming down pit road. So Steve, they only need fuel only because it's only one can of fuel to make it to the end of the stage. But that message for the Ford teams didn't make it to all the drivers.
And you see a lot of teams just getting fuel. We get a lot of cars on pit road. We had tons of contact on pit road during green flag stops at Daytona. Could have the same thing here with these quick stops, cars in and out of boxes.
Here come a few more cars peeling off now. It looks like the 18 of Kyle Busch. And look out for the 20. Christopher Bell sliding.
He almost hit that inside wall.
All right, keep coming, keep coming.
Get it fired up. He gets the car fired up and moving.
We talked about troubles getting on pit road. They've got to change tires. He's in trouble here. Marty.
And that was not the plan for Adam Stevens in terms of changing tires. It was supposed to be a fuel-only stop, as you've seen everybody else. So Christopher Bell now in a position, to your point, Jeff, where they have to change 4 tires. He's going to lose the draft here, Jeff. That's going to be huge for the 20 car, who came in below the cut line after a rough race in Texas last week.
Such a good round, the first round of the playoffs. But since then, things have not gone well.
Rest of the field stays on the racetrack.
And I like this now. If I'm one of these cars on the racetrack, I feel really good about my choice, because we're very efficient, we're very clean, we are single file. Now the 22 fast entering, as you can imagine, hard to run RPM when you're just like that, sideways under the camera. Very fortunate he didn't hit the inside with the nose, but now they're going to have to lose a lap serving the penalty, and at this point it's just take a deep breath, try to figure out, what you do from here.
And you wonder how that happens. Like, how do you spin out getting on pit road. Just probably too much rear brake force, rear brakes trying to lock up, round the car went.
And don't forget, they made the decision to bail out on stage 1 points. We're going to the back. We'll get them in stage 2. We'll get them in stage 2. And now you have this issue. No stage points for the 20 today.
Here come the Chevrolets.
That's right, Chevy, your turn. A little more organized. Nice and clean on that entry, Kim.
Downshift for Ross Chastain, a smooth entry. It's going to be 4 seconds of fuel, they told Ross Chastain, as he waits for the count. Parker.
There was a lot of information in Chase Elliott over those last couple laps of where everyone in this contingent was pitting on pit road so he could navigate it appropriately. Just fuel only for him as we see the Chevys pull away.
Boy, Kyle Larson has driven one of his best super speedway races ever. Fuel only here. They have gone rights, then lefts, and fuel only here. Cliff Daniels also calling a terrific race as well. Now we'll see where the blend happens, Rick, with all the cars all over the racetrack right now.
Yeah, different strategies coming at different times. How will they all come back out onto the track together as we see more making their way onto pit road as the others just coming off pit road are getting up to speed? Dave.
Daniel Suarez, playoff driver. Last time they took 4 tires, so there should be no need this time for a fresh set of Goodyears. Just Sunoco fuel to get him to the end of the stage. The 8 of Tyler Reddick on pit road as well. Last time Reddick took 4 tires, none this time.
The 8 we're hearing doesn't have 4th gear, so leaving first will be a big improvement for him. Almost block the guys behind you, so when you lose some momentum without 4th, they'll push you along. We still have a wave, as you see on the pylon. Almirola, Harvick, Gilliland, McDowell, Custer, here they are entering turn 3. Will they continue to run, or will this be the last group of cars that come to pit road? A nice small group. They should be able to be pretty organized. The 20 of Christopher Bell is going to join as well to serve that penalty. Sometimes running long pays off. We're going to have to let this group blend around, and we'll see where they all end up. See if it's fuel only as well on the Fords. That's been the common consensus by most of the cars that have pitted. Dave, let's see what these guys choose to do.
Todd Gilliland probably will not get tires. Rodney Childers told Kevin Harvick, you'll need 2 right side tires, Parker.
And they told the 10 Florida, which is a code word I believe to be right side tires for the leader, Eric Alonso, who leads his last contingent down to pit road. Artie?
Blake Harris makes the call, fuel only for Michael McDowell. We'll see where all these guys cycle out in Chapter 2 of the Fords coming down pit road. So now, Rick, we get to see where all the different packs are on the racetrack as the bigger pack thunders down on those Fords leaving pit road right behind them.
And you're going to see right here, it's hard to see. It's camo, so it should be hard to see. The camo car, the 8 of Tyler Reddick. You know, look at this momentum, the efficiency on and off pit road, and running that very clean single file lap. Gained this 8 car of Tyler Reddick some track time, and you're going to see right here, they should easily clear all of these Fords before they get to turn 3. So there you have it. The whole field has come on pit road, off pit road. Tyler Reddick now controls the lead here at Talladega.
Green flag pit stops complete. 17 to go in stage 2 from Talladega. NASCAR fans, don't let anything pass you by. The official app of NASCAR Tracks lets you stay up to date on the latest race and event information from all your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store, and you can download for free. It's NASCAR Cup Series playoffs on NBC. The Yellawood 500 with 13 laps to go. It's Tyler Reddick who's out front. Reddick, one of the hottest drivers right now in the Cup Series, 3 wins already. But out of the playoffs after round 1. He was in the bottom 4 of points. If it came out a week ago, was able to win at Texas. Suarez, Chastain, Larson, they're in the top 5. Chase Elliott, playoff driver, running in the 6th position. Chris Buescher nestled in there, though, in the 5th position.
I think we're getting ready to see a split in ideas here, in ideology. If you want points at the end of the stage, you need to go here in the mix. Yeah. If you don't, you better get out of the mix, and get out of the mix before I see 10 to go, because this is only going to continue to get more intense.
Let's look at the flag painted car, the one there, and take a look at the telemetry brought to you by Progressive.
Give it a good push on that right rear corner, trying to stay offset. When he does that, don't push on the left rear corner. That'll spin the guy out in front of you. You mentioned it, Steve. Coming to the end of this stage, there's a couple guys that need some points. Chase Briscoe in 14th. Byron back there in 21st. Several guys that need track position right now in the next few laps.
It's great telemetry right here. You can see the throttle and brake. He's not just able to run around here wide open. He was in and out of the gas a lot. Now there's a big gap in front of him. So now he's wide open. But let's see what he does as he gets to the back of his teammate. Right up against him. Lifted a little bit, drugging the brake just there for a second. He can see because he's offset. There's a car right in front of Daniel.
And now it's close. Tyler Reddick had to grab the number 8 just in front of the 99.
And you saw that last push that Chastain gave the 99. The 99 had a little wiggle into the transition to 3.
There's that hood flap you were talking about earlier. You see it on the right side.
Now it's 10 laps to go in stage 2.
Outside line's got some good speed going on here. These guys all continue to work together. Now the 99 to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to change lanes here. The 8 is going to go with him as well. So these 3 really kind of controlling the field. Here comes the 5 and the 9 down this inside. Big run. Big push here. They're not going to defend it.
I think Reddick was smart enough not to. He was smart not to defend it. That push was coming so fast. Had he rolled down in front of that, that would have been a big wreck.
We'll see if that outside line can work their way back up here.
That little movement by the inside helps William Byron a little bit as he moves up into the top 15. But now here comes this outside line again, bringing more positions back by the 24 car. And the 14 car, Briscoe, right at the bubble in 8th position in points right now in this outside line, trying to be able to finish in the top 10, grab another point or 2 if he can. Marty.
9 to go here in stage 2, and Christopher Bell is back there in 31st. Just went down 1 lap, but Steve, he may get away with one. Nearly wrecked coming to pit road. He knows he's going to get a caution here in 9 laps at the end of the stage. They should be the free pass car. He'll be back on the lead lap, but that was almost disaster for a team that had a terrific first round, but they've had a rough second one.
Yeah, he's going to be fortunate. It looks like there's only 1 lap, 1 car, 1 lap down. Justin Allgaier is the other. There's 2, but Justin Allgaier is way behind the pack, so there should really be no battle. Now he just doesn't want to get caught up in any other incidents here in the next 8 laps.
I find it interesting, too, Denny Hamlin back in 24th. You know, he decided to get out of this lead pack or out of the front of this pack and go to the rear of the pack as well. And when you look at the points, just only a few ahead. He's only 15 points above the good cut line there. Now you see a 3rd line trying to form on the outside. The 14 car of Chase Briscoe is going to try to throw a Hail Mary here in the final few laps of this stage. See if he can't get up there. Kill.
And you mentioned Chase Briscoe right outside that top 10 in danger of not getting stage points. They are not worried about that. I asked them what their plan was for today. They said if they were in position to grab some points, that's great. But they did not want Chase to have max aggression trying to get stage points. The long game. What's in the end is their goal here today. They said if they can leave this race plus any sort of points, they feel like they'll be in a good position, Parker, headed into the Roval.
Well, Kim, it's a little different situation there for Chase Elliott, who's fighting for this stage win up front, but he has one of the calmest voices as his spotter in Eddie DeHaan, I think, in the entirety of the sport. But when he hooked up with that 5, like he's doing right now that first time, and shot to the front, Eddie DeHaan came on the radio and said, "That's awesome." So they're trying to note how much he can push that 5 right now, and as we get to 7 to go and come to 6 to go, trying to put themselves in position to win this stage.
Remember, Chase Elliott started this round with 40 playoff points and then had a bad Texas race where he finished 32nd. So he got a little bit closer to that cut line, but as he runs now, he's 35 points above the cutoff line. That's Chase Elliott right now in the 9 on the 2nd inside row. He's running 2nd on that inside row, and now Tyler Reddick drops down to that inside row to lead the 5 of Kyle Larson, now up to the top again, and gets in front of the 99 of Daniel Suarez.
Chase was able to get 8 points in stage 1, trying to grab another handful here. A lot of aggressive pushing, going to continue to pick up in intensity as we get closer and closer to the finish. The 99 right in the back of the 8 car, all set a little bit to the inside. That's really, really dangerous, as we've talked about. But you can't really predict where this guy in front of you is going to go.
Talked about the points that Larson earned in stage 1 with that outside road, the 99 and the 1. They did not get any stage points in the first one, so they've got to try to find a way to get them in this one.
Playoff drivers with a yellow line underneath their names on the screen. Down the back stretch, again, under 5 laps to go now in stage 2. Justin Haley up here in the mix in the 31. He's won at a super speedway before.
In that first wreck, a lot of tape on it, damaged.
Sometimes they go a little faster that way.
The magic lap in stage 1, it seemed like about 2.5, 3 to go. You know, 2 lanes turned into 3, and then the closing lap and a half, it really got exciting. 4 to go.
Larson surging ahead, using that momentum on the lower line. We'll see if he goes up to block the high line with that momentum.
I don't know if he'll leave his teammate. He probably should move up there, Rick, but he's not going to do it.
Oh, big push between the 1, the 99, and the 8.
Same way with the 9 and the 5. Things are getting a little more aggressive here. We see Chastain shove that 99 into the 8. Both of those cars had cleared the 5. Now getting very tight up front.
And they're going to be catching a slow car at really an unfortunate time. Coming to 3 to go. And the 62 of Justin Allgaier will be getting lapped. And you just wonder if they do it at 2 wide, it shouldn't be an issue. But if they get the 3 wide and then catch that single car, you run out of real estate quick.
Top 2 have surged ahead. There's Allgaier in the 62.
Now the 99 and the 8 are down at the bottom of the racetrack. Now back up the racetrack. In front of this outside line down the back straightaway, the 1, the 17, all getting pretty uncomfortable there. Big pushes.
Again, that bottom line, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, they've got that figured out, how to get that done.
These guys in the outside line are making me so nervous. Getting a little bit offset with the pushes.
A couple cars dropped out of that outside line a little deeper back in the field. Maybe that surge won't be coming so hard.
Reddick side drafting the 9 a little bit. He's going to try to get up alongside this 5 car. Not going to do it down here in the corner. Now he is. He's right there. Good organization. Real tight here on the inside line. All bumper to bumper. They're going to have a good push down this back straightaway.
Side by side for the lead. They'll be coming up on 1 to go when they come back to the front stretch.
Big push right there, Rick. Sends that 9 and the 5 out into a clear lead. What do they do with it? I don't think they get up and block this outside line. I think they stay committed to the bottom. They don't want to open it up for Haley or anybody to dive underneath them.
Only if that outside line has a big run coming. Right now, they're pretty safe. Now Chase has a decision to make. What's he going to do? Stay to that bottom lane.
The 8 pulls even once again with the 5.
And this going to the back straightaway is where the 5 and the 9 have worked it out the last several laps to see if they can do it again.
Here comes the 9 to the back of the 5. Here they come. Will they block it? Big run for the 5 and the 9 down the back straightaway. The outside's tagged up as well. It's a drag race into turn 3.
Reddick's going to stay up high. Now that inside line with momentum as Reddick gets shoved out. Reddick almost up into the wall. And the 5 surging ahead. Now the 9. Will Chase Elliott stay behind him, or will he try to win stage 2?
That hurt the momentum from the outside line.
Chase Elliott to the outside. Through the dogleg. Elliott with momentum. Haley pushes him. Elliott's going to win stage 2.
Nice work.
Man, that was great work. And you hate to do that to a teammate. But those stage points are so important. We see the 8 car on pit road with an obvious issue.
Yeah, because pit road is closed, so he was not able to come to pit road here.
Ran out of gas.
Well, so you want to remember it was gas
Out of
only
fuel.
on all the pit stops.
Yep.
They weren't
Out
going
of
to fill
fuel.
them up. That's a great update, Dave. So think about that for later. We see these green flag pit stops. Don't assume they get enough fuel in it. We didn't think anyone was close. Big issue for the 8.
Stage 1 won by Ryan Blaney. Stage 2, it's a great move by Chase Elliott to get the stage 2 win. The NASCAR Cup Series playoffs continue on NBC. It's the Yellawood 500. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Applebee's. For $1 gets you 5 boneless wings with any handcrafted burger. Progressive, revving up the savings on home and auto insurance. Visit progressive.com. And by Yellawood brand pressure treated pine. If it doesn't have that yellow tag, you don't want it. Today's race entitlement sponsor, Yellawood brand pressure treated pine, introduces their Yellawood 500 promo car. This year's winning design was voted on by NASCAR fans everywhere and can be seen all around the track today. And at the Yellawood Pit Road Club, gives fans up close and personal. Best view in the house right on pit road. What a perfect day for racing. Over 100,000 fans on site here, taking in this, the second race of the second round of the playoffs. And with the finishes to stage 1 and stage 2, I am confident we're going to have a great ending to this one, and the fans are going to be able to enjoy that.
A couple cars that have needed stage points today and not been able to get them. One of them, William Byron, had the penalty that took him out of a great position in the playoffs to come in here under the cut line. And there's been 20 playoff points available in the first 2 stages. He has not gotten any. As you see, he's just outside the top 10.
And there's only one other playoff driver that has not gotten playoff stage points, and that's Christopher Bell. Spun coming onto pit road. He was running about the 13th position, so he would have had an opportunity to possibly get some points. That mistake has prevented him from doing it.
Steve, we're to the point now, 66 to go in the race. So this race evenly split up with the stages.
Yeah, so this is going to look a lot like what happened at the end of stage 1. We just saw Tyler Reddick run out of gas coming through 3 and 4, coming to the checker. That's how close these leaders are timing their fuel-only stops. For that reason, most of these cars need an entire tank of fuel. Now is the time to put it in. Fill it all the way up. You can run about 40 to 45 laps on fuel, so it's 66 to go. Somewhere in here, we're going to have a pit stop. You got to put about 20 laps of fuel in your car. But I expect to see the running order shift a little bit right here, with the leaders needing a bunch of fuel, cars farther back probably needing not quite so much.
In the field making their way onto pit road now, and to Kim.
And to Steve's point, they've told Ross Chastain he will wait on fuel. Ross said the car's all good. The call's going to be 4 tires on that top left. Dave?
Daniel Suarez was tight alone, but when he was being pushed really loose, they don't want to free him up at all for that reason. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Parker?
Dave, for Chase, he came on the radio after winning that stage and said we made all the right moves waiting on fuel, Marty.
Well, the man who says I'm just not good at super speedway racing, Kyle Larson, has earned the 2nd most points today. Cliff Daniels holding him there for fuel, as you saw right there. Larson having a terrific super speedway race today. Finished 2nd in stage 2 and comes off pit road 3rd.
Pretty consistent. Everyone taking 4 tires and Sunoco fuel on this pit stop. We're thankful to be here on a beautiful day here at Talladega with over 100,000 people, but I know our attention this last week was on the southeast part of our country when Hurricane Ian came through. If you'd like to help support those affected by Hurricane Ian, please visit www.redcross.org, or you can text the word Ian to 90999 to make a $10 donation. You know, Daytona, very near and dear to the racing community, was hit hard. Volusia County, it's the most impacted outside of that initial landfall area on the West Coast. Those were the 2 biggest devastation areas. We're on opposite ends of the state of Florida. And again, you can help out. Marty.
Hey, Rick, want to show you the right front that came off Eric Jones' car, who did run up front. Steve, I would say this would be concerning. This is the inside shoulder of the right front tire. 48 laps were on this tire, and you can see that wear. That's down to the cord, Steve. So how concerning would that be? 48 laps on that right front for Eric Jones. And would that make you pause, maybe thinking about only doing right sides on the next stop?
Well, that would be the concern, right? You have 64 laps to go in the race, so if you don't feel you can run that far on the right side, you'd have to put 2 tires on it. You need 20 gallons worth of fuel. You could probably put rights on it for that same amount of time, but definitely don't feel good about seeing a tire wear out. KP, DJ, you're down on pit road. You tell me what you would do. Gas only or 2 tires? What's the call, KP? I don't know what the call is. Listen, that's a 43 car. That one's close to my heart when you start looking at that. What would your call be? You're the car owner.
I don't know. I mean, why not? Why not take tires and fuel if you can do it? I mean, why not? I mean, for me, I'm looking at this last stage and I'm saying to myself, of the last 3 races, the leaders, or the guys who won those last 3 races, only led 7 laps throughout the day. So I'm wanting to go into this last stage. I want to have decent track position. I want to give myself the best chance to stay where I'm at throughout the run. So whatever it is, if I come off pit road and I've got 4 tires, I got fuel, I'm going to stay where I'm at and advance my position. I'm not worried about leading anything but the last lap.
One more thing. Are you surprised after everything that went on last week at Texas that William Byron and that 24 team have not put themselves in position to gain stage points?
No doubt about that. When you're in that position, he's got to win the race. He's got to win. He's got to get stage points and win the race. And they have not done that consistently. He had a chance. He backed out of the throttle in the first stage. Don't know if he got spooked or pushed or whatever, but they have not executed the way they needed to. A lot of pressure, I know, but they haven't done it.
Yeah, all the stage points are basically off the table at this point in time.
You got to go win
now you got to go win the race up there, Rick.
Well, that's the goal for all the drivers, right, Jeff?
It is, and we just saw Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson working well together. Let's see how it happened. Kyle Larson knows he needs Chase Elliott to push him, so what does he do? He slows his car down. Look at this gap. Look at the 99. He's driving away from the 5. The 5 is off the throttle. Our telemetry is he's 70% throttle. Now the 9 gets there. As soon as the 9 gets there, Kyle Larson now is able to gently go back to the throttle. The 9's latched up to him, and now the push starts. So how do you make this work? It's not just Chase Elliott pushing. It's Kyle Larson knowing how to back up to Chase Elliott so they can get this run.
Getting ready for the restart. And now, the final stage underway at Talladega. Nine of the 5 once again nose to tail. This time it's the 9 in front of the 5. And Eric Jones in the 43 on the outside, trying to get some help from Chris Buescher in the 17. Three Hendrick Motorsports drivers inside the top 5 right now, but the 24 hung out on the outside, not able to work with teammates.
He's going to sit right there, try to come up here and go for the 17 as the 43 goes to the bottom to slow that line down. Waits for the 17 and 24 to get connected. They're going to make a run. Chris Buescher and Byron on the outside. The 43 doesn't block it. He's going to stay down on that bottom groove. This push from the 24 down the back straightaway. Oz putting his 17 into the lead. This is the 3rd car in line, Chastain. And look as they're connected, how they drive away from the 1 car a little bit.
We'll see if Eric Jones is able to stay in this position or if he'll get shuffled out in between the 3 Hendrick cars that are right now 2nd, 4th, and 5th.
He's kind of
boxed inside line.
He's kind of boxed in there, nowhere to go. Now this, I mean, it's really whoever's leading outside line really has a great opportunity to take the lead. He's going to get the help, and off of turn 2, that outside line is going to go down the back straightaway. Time and time again, we see this over and over and over. The one time that it doesn't happen is when that guy that's in the lead in the outside line stays there. When he is clear of the inside line, he chooses not to pull down. Ross Chastain was one of those guys that was doing that earlier in the race. If he gets that opportunity now, will he stay in this middle groove in front of the 12 car and just continue to let that inside line battle down there on the bottom?
Chris Buescher on the inside, one of the 19 different winners in 2022, getting a win for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing.
It's almost starting to sound normal, the RFK, get the K on there. Brad Keselowski joining longtime Roush Fenway team this year as a driver/part owner. All right, Chastain's now clear. Couple cars clear. What do? They stay up top here. Continue to try to
stifle the inside line. Right now, running in the middle groove, not choosing to go low just yet.
But now a push on that inside line. Here they come. Is there going to be an attempt for a block? Doesn't look like it. Looks like Chastain is going to stay in his lane. A lot of patience right now. It's going to go away. This was coming to the checker. Chastain would have, without a doubt, gone to the bottom and blocked that run. Marty.
In stage 2, Jeff, you saw Ryan Blaney fall back in the back of the pack, could not get back up there and earn stage points. He debated it here in stage 3 as well. Here was a conversation under the last caution between Blaney and his Phillips crew chief, Miles Stanley.
I don't know, man. I could go either way here. I hate to freaking get destroyed, but if we just get in a bad situation or feel like we're not comfortable, we'll be able to try and race forward from here right now, though.
So, Jeff, at the end of the day, the decision was, let's go race, let's go up front, because when you get back in the back, just too hard to come back up and have a chance to win the race.
You can get wrecked from anywhere, Marty. We've seen the wreck start in the front, the middle, and the back. You may as well be in the front. Now that the stages are over, just go try to win the race.
The one thing that I see that's interesting is the one car gets out a little bit too far, and he has a lot of forwards lined up behind him. If they got a great opportunity and a big run, a big enough run, would Blaney dive to the bottom? Look at this 11 car. Denny Hamlin's already going to shake this up. He says, I'm not going to ride fourth in line. I'm going to the bottom here.
And remember, he bailed out earlier. He said enough, went all the way to the back, and now here he is with 57 to go, and he wants to be in the front.
I just don't know if that inside line is eventually where you're going to be, but he's going to get a push right here from the 17. He does have a Ford behind him. We know they can push really well. Chris Buescher right there, and this blue car on the inside line. Parker.
And guys, as we see him fight for the lead, the team reminded him when he restarted here in stage 3 that he restarted back in 13th in stage 1, drove to the lead and almost won that stage. Stage 2, they decided to hang out the back, but right now he just turned the Xfinity fastest lap as he goes from 14th to the lead in just a couple laps, showing the strength of that 11 car now controlling the pack up at the front.
You want somebody that knows what they're doing at the super speedways. It's Denny Hamlin. I think he's the best one out there when it comes to knowing how the draft works, how to use that to your advantage. But it's tough trying to beat this outside line. Look how much momentum and speed they're able to create. Coming off of turn 2, we see it every lap. If they can get together and push, big runs down the back straightaway. Drug 4 or 5 cars by that inside line.
Now can Ross Chastain take everybody up high? We just had the 47th lead change of this race. That's the most in a race this year.
We just saw Christopher Bell had the problem getting on pit road. Got lapped. He got the free pass because he's the first car lap down, and here he is. He's worked himself all the way back to 13th. That blue and white car right there, all the way back to 13th.
So interesting watching this middle line led by Chastain decide to stay there and not come to the bottom. And that's been the one thing that's sort of stopped that cycle of the outside line continuing to take the lead, one car after the next.
Riding along with Bubba Wallace, and try this bottom line.
He dived down in front of Denny.
Hey guys, a lot. We talk all about the new car. One thing we've talked about it before right there. That is the video of his digital rear view camera. So these drivers on this car not only have the regular camera up here by our NBC logo, they also have the digital mirror down below, which is a camera on the back of the roof that shoots backwards, gives them a perspective kind of like you have in your car at home. So the old school and the new school both being used by Bubba Wallace.
Right in the back bumper is Denny. But they're not really making a lot of momentum just yet. We're going to have to see if Bubba can pull them up through there. Denny wasn't able to do it.
So Denny Hamlin, co-owner of the 45 with Michael Jordan, that inside line trying to move. Make sure to join us live Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern for NASCAR Radio Channel 90. That's NBC Sports on Sirius XM. This week, Parker Kligerman will join the guys on the morning drive. He can talk about his 2 top 10s that he was able to gain yesterday in the Truck Series race as well as the Xfinity Series race. 50 laps to go, brought to you by Yellawood.
When do you make your move? I'd already made it. I am already making my move. I want to be in the lead. If I was that 12 car, I would already have passed this 1 car. I want to be crossing the finish line to get the white flag ahead of everyone else and force them to make the choice of how to get around me.
Who do you trust? When you go to make that move, are they going to go with you? And I hope you're smart enough not to listen to them, because they're going to lie to you. You better really understand who it is that's going to go when you go.
And what have you learned? We had a couple, I call them dress rehearsals. End of stage 1, end of stage 2. What position were you in? What worked? What didn't? We saw a great move to win stage 1 to the outside. Would they have blocked? Could they have blocked? Parker, how about from down on pit road is where you are today, but for the last couple races, you've been behind the wheel in both the truck race and the Xfinity Series race. Answer our questions. When would you be making the move? What do you think about the race you're seeing?
Well, I mean, this race has been absolutely awesome, but I think right now, dare I say, we might be seeing the calm before the storm, right? Knowing there's another pit stop here, a lot of these drivers decide to get in line, take it easy, get to that last stop. But that last stop, Dale, as you alluded to, is the most important. I talked to Chase Elliott today, and he said, all I do is try to put myself in position for that last pit stop. And that's how I approach Super Speedway racing. Try and put yourself in the best position, track position-wise, when you come out of that last stop, because that's when the pay window opens and everything is to play for. And I think we're going to see that here in these last 48 laps.
Well, Parker's being humble. What he didn't tell you is he was top 10 in both races. Yeah. So top 10 in both the Xfinity and the truck. Congrats, Parker. Great run. 2 clean races.
You would have thought he bought dinner last night.
You would have thought.
You would have thought.
So we watched this race right here off the nose of Cindric and right inside as well, as he's trying to, you know, stay in line and get to that last pit stop. Don't need to take any risk and cycle yourself further back to the back of the pack. That's kind of why they're kind of being careful here. But this middle line, I think we were joking under the break, the middle is the new top. You know, a lot of times at these races, we'd see a lot of guys go right to the wall and sort of finish out a run right before a caution or right before a pit stop once they get that track position. And it has been tough for this inside line to get anywhere. And we see Denny Hamlin still there leading it. Bubba Wallace, he bailed out, said, we're not going anywhere. I'm done with this. But now Denny's going to stay committed to it, and he's trying to pull themselves forward. Not really getting a lot done there, but it's interesting to see this middle line with those top 2 or 3, 4 guys there committed to it, not passing each other. They've able to keep this. They're really kind of able to hold that inside line at bay and control the inside line.
I feel like Hamlin with Buescher behind him is starting to make just inch up a little bit. Chris Buescher's gotten a little more aggressive with the bumping down the back straightaway, and that's where they're making up a little bit of ground.
And that what we said all along is that the Fords have a better nose to push. And we have a Ford pushing that inside line and a Ford pushing a Chevrolet on the outside line. So that's the challenge for that inside line, is they have the same advantage now on the outside line. And you see Blaney not scared to use the bumper of this number 12 Pennzoil Ford.
And Chastain had a little bit of a handful there in the last bump draft that he got from Ryan Blaney. Parker.
As we see Denny Hamlin on that bottom lane lead here, we want to do a Toyota driver update and sort of let you know what his thought process is here. He's going to be aggressive here to get that track position. The reins have been released from the 11 car. Chris Gabehart told me as long as they score a certain amount of points through those first 2 stages, he finished second at first stage, that's when we can push in the 3rd stage and put ourselves in the best position for late in the race. And I think that's why you see him leading that bottom lane right now, just trying to get that track position, grind forward on that bottom lane and get themselves as far up as they possibly can for this last pit stop.
And we felt like that middle lane was starting to be dominant, and the drivers did too. They started migrating toward that middle, but now with Denny Hamlin starting to make some progress, now you're starting to see more and more cars go to the bottom of the racetrack. You got to be convinced that if you make a move, it's going to be positive. If it's not going to be positive, you may as well stay where you are. But with Denny starting to inch by inch himself up there, more drivers are saying, hey, let's go there. Let's go with him.
Back, race leader Ross Chastain here. Xfinity Mobile onboard camera. Chastain continues to lead here at Talladega. The next generation of Wi-Fi is here with supercharged speeds faster than a gig. Unbeatable internet made to do anything so you can do anything. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. Inside line has seen a little momentum. Denny Hamlin actually was out front for a brief period of time. Marty.
Boy, Rick, it's getting dicey in that outside lane. Remember Ryan Blaney said earlier in the race, I can't really push anyone. He's doing a good job of pushing Ross Chastain right now, but he really likes who's pushing him. Listen to the radio.
Obviously, I don't know how easy you're riding, but it seems like the 6 can put in boost mode and get to you whenever you want. Something to think about for later. Does it like twice down each straightaway. Good pusher. Good before.
And then after that radio transmission, he asked Josh Williams, his spotter, to write that down. He mentioned Brad Keselowski. He mentioned Kevin Harvick. So, Junior, how much of your race, especially in stage 3, is about building that list of who you work well with and who you don't?
I bet Josh was like, are you sure? I don't know, man. I mean, Brad, you always see some things with Brad. He can push, pushes well, pushes aggressively. Will he push too aggressively late in the race? But we said it earlier in the day, you absolutely take note with who you work with better, who's giving you the push that you like. Because a lot of guys will hit you really hard and you won't go anywhere and you'll be like, well, stop doing that. And they just don't know any better. Some guys won't be aggressive enough at all to even get to your back bumper and give you any help in scenarios where you really need it. So when you do find that guy that gives you that proper push lap after lap and really seems to know what he's doing,
do I need to save you anymore? If you have the opportunity, yes, it'll just decrease the stop length.
Hey, Jack, do I need you to save any more fuel? Yeah, you can help our pit stop. More fuel you save, the less we have to put in on pit road. Fifth car in line on the top there, the 4 Kevin Harvick. Little shout out to Rodney Childress, his crew chief. 600 starts on top of the pit box. That's impressive career with a lot of wins. 37 with Harvick. So another camo car. I don't know about the camo cars at the drafting tracks. I'm having a hard time picking them out.
That inside line again, a little momentum for the 11 of Denny Hamlin.
It's really interesting. Denny Hamlin got all the way to the front. You know, it took him forever to get there, got all the way to the front, and then in about 1 lap, went from the front to about 10th, maybe 15th in that range. And now it's taking him multiple laps to get himself back toward the front with a little bit of forward momentum.
It was interesting listening to the radio of the 12 of Ryan Blaney when he talked about Keselowski, because it wasn't that long ago that Brad Keselowski was very vocal about the way people blocked him at racetracks like this. He said, I didn't like it. I don't like it at all. And if somebody tries to block me, I'm going to run right through them. Well, now he's to the point where we're hearing from Ryan Blaney that he likes the fact that he's a good pusher here at the Superspeedway. And once again, you see the 11 getting some momentum off the nose of the 17. Kim.
And Ryan Blaney might like how Brad Keselowski pushes, but Ross Chastain does not. I talked to Ross this morning and was kind of asking who he trusted to push him. And he said there's a couple of guys, but there's one guy that I don't necessarily trust. That's Brad Keselowski. He said, yeah, he might be an aggressive pusher, but sometimes he's too aggressive and you lose the car if Brad Keselowski is pushing you.
So he's not on the ones list as far as people he wants pushing him around the track.
Oh, no. That 12 up the racetrack a little bit. Brad very patient not to make contact with the back bumper of the 12 car on the left rear corner.
And look what it did to the front. That required Chastain to make a move to go down to block Denny Hamlin. Now they're on the outside of Chastain. One little move like that, it completely mixes the field up.
Now the high line being led by Blaney.
So Brad was probably a little more patient in pushing the 12 with the 1 car in front. Now with the 1 car out of the way, Brad can be more aggressive if he wants to. Let's see what he does with that.
Remember, Brad and Ryan used to be teammates. They raced together for a long time, pushed each other around these racetracks.
All right, let's listen into the 12 spotter, Josh Williams.
Bottom of the nose ahead, 6 is helpful get there first. Half, both lanes, 6 is going to need a push. You're still clear, 6 is not clear yet. So half to the bottom, 6 is not clear. Both lanes are going to push into the corner here. Still half to the bottom, 6 with you. Half to the bottom right with the inside corner. Inside. Half off to your help and tight with the 6 to the 38. 6 trying to get back to you.
Some great information from the spotter there. One of the best to do it. They got a lot of Fords lined up now on that outside line. A lot of commitment between manufacturers. If that's important still, this could play a role for this outside line. And they know now, they see the script that the one car showed them how to work that middle groove. So don't expect them to drop back down and try to run that bottom line. If I was them, if I was Blaney, I would just sit right here in front of this 6 car, right in front of the 38, right in front of the 4. Stay committed to this middle.
It's a big push right there from Brad Keselowski. A lot of momentum for the 12, but now he loses it as we see the 1 with a huge push from Denny Hamlin. Can he clear the outside line? Just not able to get in front of that 12, and here comes the outside line again. A lot of jockeying for position here at Talladega. Still out front, the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Just 5 races remain in the season, and all of those races, beginning with the Charlotte Roval next week, will be on NBC with post-race coverage on Peacock. Again, next week's race coverage beginning at 1, race at 2.
You see the lead pack. Junior, you had pointed out they had run the middle. Now they have very organized and very tidy, but they moved to the bottom. I think a couple reasons. One, as I mentioned, they're kind of tidy. The other thing, though, is we are closing in on pit stops, only a handful of laps away. Move to the bottom. That way, when your crew chief makes that last second call, you're already in the preferred lane to turn left to come to pit road.
Marty.
Rick, I think those pit stops are coming up pretty soon here. So, Steve, want to clean up one thing we said earlier on. We showed that right front from Eric Jones earlier in the race. There were actually 66 green flag laps on that right front when it corded down. So this run in stage 3, Steve, very similar. Would anyone take the risk of fuel only, you think, on this last stop?
I believe somebody will. I think taking right side tires is probably safest for tire wear, but gas only is safest for a good pit stop. Remember, we have seen issues with tire exchanges, and if you take the right sides off, there is a potential you can mess it up or have an issue. They need to put about 20 or 22 laps worth of fuel on board when you look at the total run. Probably want to put a little extra just in case we have overtime. The other big change that you really have to pay attention to is I'm hearing from crew chiefs 4 or 5 laps different on a tank of fuel when you're the leader or in the
Crew behind you will be pitting as well.
There you go, pitting as well. Hands out the window. I saw Brad's hand. There you go. I thought I saw Reddick's hand come out the window, which would be a Chevy with a Ford. Let's see how well they do. Remember, Christopher Bell spun coming to pit road under the first set of green flag pit stops. The 11 looks like he's staying out. That's why he moves up. He wants no part of this.
And here they come. The choreographed stop. See Cindric getting down to pit road speed. Kim.
And we're going to watch Ross Chastain make his stop. The call by crew chief Phil Surgeon, right side tires only. He will be waiting on fuel. They said 6 seconds of fuel as we look at Brad Keselowski's stop on pit road. Brad Keselowski also making stops under this green. Marty.
Leader Ryan Blaney on pit road, and it's going to be fuel only for Ryan Blaney. There's the call. Also right behind him, Eric Jones as well. So there's your fuel only call, Steve. Blaney leaves. Of all these guys, beats them all off pit road, but we'll see where all the cycles out after the green flag stops finish.
Well, you mentioned cycles, so as those cars leave pit road, here comes the leaders. Denny Hamlin right around the yellow line. Is he turning left? He is, and it is an all for one. Everybody left on the racetrack is going to try to come to pit road at once. Pretty organized so far. We're hearing the 6 and the 4 too fast last time down pit road. Let's see how successful these guys are turning in. Oh, it's a bump and a bang from between the 8 and the 24, Dave.
Boy, I don't know if that organized was a word that you used. This is crazy down here. Daniel Suarez was told that he would need 2 right side tires in addition to Sunoco fuel. Parker.
And Dave, I think this forced the hand of the Toyotas to come down earlier with those Chevys. It was right sides for Denny Hamlin. They were supposed to go maybe 8 more laps, and they pitted this lap.
What a traffic jam on pit road. Kyle Larson, that was right side tires for him, right side tires for the 20, but here comes the pack, Rick.
Yeah, they were 4 wide coming off of pit road. Now they're trying to get organized and in line, but the pack is coming with momentum. There goes the 12 of Ryan Blaney.
these guys are trying to go through the gears as best they can on the apron. Can't leave the apron until the exit of turn 2. There you see it. They're going to kind of come up. The momentum will be on the top, but will they get all the way clear of the bottom line, or will Kyle Larson have the position down bottom as they get into turn 3? They will be cleared for the 12. Now the 6 who's pushing him, he was one of the cars that had a speeding penalty. So Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick, that's the white car on the bottom, first car in line, will have to take another trip down pit road. Here comes Kevin Harvick's right here. Brad Keselowski has the option and will take the option to run another lap.
The Chevrolets, the 5 of Kyle Larson, has fallen back about to the 7th position, Marty.
What did Ryan Blaney say on the radio about 20 laps ago? His 2 best pushers, Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick. Jeff, they both just got speeding penalties. So how does that change the game for the guy behind the wheel of the 12?
You've got to, what you've got to do is you've just got to figure out who it is you can work with. This is going to be like this all day. You want a guy behind you, but that doesn't mean he's going to be there. You're just going to have to trust whoever ends up being behind you and hope it works as well as it did with the guy that you really wanted.
Here comes the 6, going to come down the pit road here. Get out of line.
So now Ross Chastain tucks in behind the 12. These 3 have pulled away, but they'll get caught by the pack here shortly.
We're 4 wide there in the back of the pack. These guys are all trying to sort this out. It's letting these front guys get organized and get a little distance. And this is important because we've seen it. It's so hard to pass. You cannot afford to be at the back of this pack. 24 to go. You're never going to drive through it. If you're at the back of half of this pack, you better be starting to work toward the front right now. That better be your game plan. No more waiting.
Ryan Blaney out front right now has 3 super speedway wins, but he is winless in 2022. Take a
Look at this. Almost a wreck right there. Kyle Larson did a great job saving the race car. That would have been huge in front of everybody.
So this is the game of chess. I completely agree with Dale Jr. that if you think you have a chance to win this race, you need to be pushing for track position. The counter is, I can make an argument this is the exact time I don't want to be in this mix, because everybody has that same approach that Dale just mentioned. It's the right approach, but that intensity will be shown in the traffic. So if you're looking for a solid day, a good points day, maybe be a little patient for 10 or 15 laps. Hope the wreck is not in your future.
It is NASCAR Cup Series playoffs on NBC. The Yellawood 500 now coming up on 19 laps to go from Talladega.
53 lead changes with Eric Jones and Ryan Blaney swapping the lead a few times in the last couple laps.
And that right there in the 34, Michael McDowell, a great super speedway racer.
Oh my gosh. That 12 car has been sideways off of turn 2 more times than I care to count. That takes some guts, man, to be able to...
Help to push in the corners. Gotta give me a little gap in the corners.
Don't push me in the corners, one.
That's why I've been sideways so many times.
That takes guts to sit on the front of that car and take that every single corner and get turned and turned and turned and not wreck and still sit up there for more just to be controlling the lead of this race. Marty.
That's my point. He felt like he did not have to have that conversation with Brad Keselowski. He's given all the feedback to Ross Chastain, though. Think about the playoffs for Ryan Blaney. Round 1, terrible. Just 1 top 10 finish. But this round, 3rd at Texas last week. Now 18 laps from a 3rd win at Talladega, and it would be his 2nd playoff win at Talladega in the last 4 years. Incredible what Blaney has done in this round. But 18 laps at Talladega is a long time. Eric Jones going for the lead, Rick.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney, if he goes to victory lane, he'd be the 20th different winner in 2022. That would break the record.
Here comes the south side. Here comes the south side line here, guys. So the 12 asked him not to push him crazy hard. So he didn't. Now they've lost the lead. The 1 car is going to say, hey, man, the only way we can stay up here is if I get aggressive. So he's going to have to go back and get aggressive. They missed an entire back straightaway, not pushing. That's what allowed this 43 to get up there. And will a 43 be smart, though, Jeff?
No, because he's not in the playoffs. Part of the reason that Blaney doesn't want to be pushed is he doesn't want to be wrecked and mess himself up in the playoffs. Eric Jones isn't worried about that. Michael McDowell pushing him isn't worried about that. They just want to go win this race.
I thought it was interesting, though, they had an opportunity, though, to jump in front of this 12 in that middle line. Look at the 1. He's going to the bottom.
But the 12 will block as well.
That's freed the outside line up for Todd Gilliland. That 38 car, he's hung in here this whole race. Really good job.
Now who continues to move from left to right?
Well, more to the story for the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Listen.
And we're right on the number on fuel. So any chance we get to save a touch, we can, but we're right on the number.
Right on the number. Remember, gas only for the 12 car. Most leaders took 2 tires. That takes 5.5, 6 seconds. Almost assures you put enough fuel in it. The 12, they got this track position by being aggressive on their pit stops. Did they have enough gas? We will see.
And guys, we have been told that the guy who leads the race uses more fuel. So out front, and if he's right on his number, it could be very close for Ryan Blaney. Marty.
And guess what they've done this entire run since that pit stop, Rick? They've led. Miles Stanley filling in for Jonathan Hassler, trying to get the fuel mileage right. We saw it bite Tyler Reddick in stage 2. I wonder how the nerves are, Steve, in the 12 camp right now.
Well, remember, he's trying to do all this without, you know, his crew chief. His crew chief, I'm sure, is working that fuel mileage from home. Jack Man, tire changer, and crew chief suspended because of a wheel that came loose off this 12. They did appeal it for a week, basically, to try to get through Texas, but now missing that communication on top of the pit box. You just never know what your normal crew chief might say if there's a keyword or a tone that makes you feel more comfortable to save gas, although good luck trying to save gas right here in front of this train.
You're talking about saving gas with Blaney. The only way to save gas from the lead is to come off the throttle. And then what happens? The guy behind you, he pushes you even harder. He just said, hey, I don't want to be pushed that hard. It's a very difficult situation for Ryan right here.
You see Miles Stanley, interim crew chief for the 12 of Blaney. Dave.
Todd Gilliland is loving life. 3rd car in line on the top, the red and yellow Mustang. Told me this morning, how will I race playoff drivers? Well, I'm here to win, and they have a lot more to lose. Great day for Todd, and he's been in that nice little pocket up front for most of this run.
The other thing he's done, Dave, is he's just stayed there. He's not been the aggressor. He's been the guy that's saying, I'm going to let these, who am I racing with? I got guys all around me that I trust, and he's kind of let them do the work, and he's just stayed in line, and that's kept him in this position. There'll come a time, though, later in this race, and Todd Gilliland will get very aggressive. I've seen him do it in the Truck Series. I've seen him do it racing late models. I've seen him racing everything he's ever raced. When he needs to, he will step the aggression level up.
Parker.
Well, guys, about 6 cars back in that top lane is that white Ally Chevrolet, but not being driven by Alex Bowman, who's out with concussion systems, but Noah Gregson, who was involved in that incident early in the race, the first caution of the race, but also lost 4th gear in that incident, so coming all the way back to be here in the top 10, running late in this race with 13 to go. A great run for Noah Gregson filling in for Alex Bowman.
Got some lap cars here, guys, in front. 4 in total. One of those, Brad Keselowski, who's leading this group. You see Harvick as well. So they will be battling, as you know, amongst themselves to try to stay the first car a lap down. That'll be interesting to see how much fight they put up to try to intermix with this lead pack. They're going high. Going to try to allow them to go by cleanly, but then they're going to be racing each other for the free pass.
12 laps remaining in the race. The 12 of Blaney out front.
Oh, Brad is down into the racer's groove right there.
And Harvick behind him.
They're going to go low around these 2 Fords. Brad kind of creeping down. Man, do you think I can get a little help? Nope.
This is going to change the energy of these lines.
This middle line, the lead line right now, has stretched out to 7, 8 car lengths in front of that low line, which is led by Eric Jones in the 43.
We'll see them stack up right there in that outside lane.
And that inside line starting to get some more momentum. Coming up on 11 laps to go. Marty.
Hey, Rick, one little nuance piece. Miles Stanley, you mentioned that relationship, Steve, and not having Jonathan Hassler here. Well, Ryan Blaney actually has more experience with Miles Stanley than he does Ryan Blaney. For years, Miles was Ryan Blaney's crew chief, or actually his engineer under Todd Gordon. So they have that communication down. Do they have the fuel for 11 laps? That's the question.
we're going to have to just hold our breath and wait and see because, you know, as the drivers have pointed out a few times, your options while leading are very few to try to save gas. At this point, you know, Blaney is really just trying to keep that track position. The last thing you want to do is give up the lead to try to assure you have enough fuel, because a caution would get you that insurance you're looking for. You would be able to save some gas under yellow.
Yeah, Blaney's hoping that there will be a caution to allow him to do that. There's some other guys that have basically just said, I'm not going to be able to drive through the field, so I'm riding in the back here. The 22 of Logano, 19 of Truex, all those guys sitting way back, expecting this crash that may never come.
Here comes that inside line. Eric Jones leading it in the 43.
Inside line. It just seems like it gets to right at the front, and then it loses energy, and it starts going to the back again. When will they be able to get to the front, clear those front two cars, and then take the lead, and then decide what lane they're going to go in? They're getting really close right here.
Ross has been pretty smart, too, about trying to slow that inside line down when he can jump in front of it. I think, honestly, that this outside duo of Ross and the 12 can push and lead whenever they want. They work as hard as they have to try to stay out in front of this inside line.
43's there. He's to the inside now of Ryan Blaney. Eric Jones back out front at Talladega.
If I'm Jones, I'm pulling that 34 car up the racetrack in front of the 12. They're going to have the run down the back straightaway.
The 9 also has cleared the 12. Will they stay in line down low?
Here comes that outside line again. He's up the racetrack. McDowell.
34 is going to stay down. He's getting some help now from the 9 of Elliott.
He's got to make a decision right now. What am I going to do? He chose to stay on the bottom.
Here comes the outside line again. They're organized and tight.
8 laps to go.
Here, the 43 blocks it. He goes up there. Going to try to get some help off the nose of the 12 for Blaney. Blaney now is in a position to save some fuel if that's absolutely necessary for him. Momentarily, until the 43 goes back to the bottom.
You see 3 wide in the back. Guys are getting impatient. They know they need to make something happen. Laps are running out.
Winner of stage 1. Ryan Blaney, the winner of stage 2, Chase Elliott. Both inside the top 5 right now.
So right now, you know the only way you're going to clear the outside or the inside lane is to push. That's it. So we're going to see the pushing get more aggressive. It's just the only way you can make it happen. We've seen it over and over and over. Chastain into the back of Blaney right there. Almost an issue.
McDowell's doing a really, really good job on the back bumper, this 43, though. He's got this inside line out in front.
Under 7 laps to go. Playoff drivers have not won in the playoffs to advance them into the next round. Could that happen today? Ryan Blaney, the best option right now. And could we see a different winner? You've got Ryan Blaney. You've also got behind him in the 38, Gilliland. We've got the 34, Michael McDowell. They haven't won in 22. Here comes the inside line again. Eric Jones out front.
It's like that 34 can push a little bit better than that 1 car. I know Chastain's in the back of this 12, but it's almost like he can't get into him and really give him the push that he wants.
Yellow on the racetrack, guys. Caution. The 16 car of Daniel Hemrick has come down pit road. I think he left his pit box and the car has shut off. He's sitting basically in the last pit stall. Dave, what are you hearing?
Motor issue on the 16. He actually talked about jumping out of the car himself, getting over the wall if they're staying green, but then the caution came out.
So basically, where the 16's sitting, if we get a little bit wider, this is what we have to think about. The end of the truck race, we saw cars spinning. You see tire tracks all around there. You just cannot have a driver sitting still on pit road like this. We've talked safety all week long. Car designs, concussions, all of this. As excited as we all are, NASCAR has the impossible task of having to ignore how good the racing is and say, Daniel Hemrick is in an unsafe situation. We can't have him getting out of the car right there. So we put the caution on the racetrack. It's unfortunate, but I'm not sure what else the 16 could do. You can't bring anybody to his, aid without a little bit of fire in the grass there. But you can't bring any aid to Hemrick while the cars are under green.
That's over in turn 4.
Yeah,
that happened.
That's probably the parts and pieces out of the 16's engine.
Yeah,
would be my guess. That's the engine problem, is he's missing those parts that are burning down in turn 4.
I've never seen that.
motor chuck a part out to set the grass on fire.
Yeah,
I thought we put that out last night.
Okay.
You've been around a long time. You've seen that before.
Let's reset this. Steve, does anybody have to come to pit road?
Well, now does Ryan Blaney think this caution is going to be enough? Does he think he has enough fuel? Has he saved enough fuel? Logano, Larson, Bell, some of the playoff guys that are near the back of the field, they may come down and get some gas because they say, hey, we might have a bunch of wrecks. We can have some overtime. How close are we? How close are we not? You know, whether this race was going to run green to the finish or not, we will never know. But one thing I have learned about Talladega is now that we, you know, jam them all together on a restart, the chance of this thing going clean time after time drops dramatically.
I think Eric Jones is going to argue that the 12 is not
keeping pace
or catching. He's not catching the pace car as fast as I think we should. So I'm going to pull out in front of this 12 here.
Hey, I like that strategy.
He's like, hey man, he's like, at least I thought Blaney was in the lead. But now
it had swapped back and forth right when the caution came out. Eric Jones, I believe, was in front of the 12 of Blaney.
Here comes Blaney.
Yeah, what they're doing right now is all the drivers have the cars cut off.
Pushes, just make sure they're smart about it, whether it's 34 or the 1. Smart about when they do pushes here.
43's the leader.
One area.
So what happens is all of the drivers, you know, they shut the cars off as long as they can. Right here, car's not running. Then he fires it up, gets up, back up to the guy in front of him. Then he'll shut it back off. And that's how you save fuel. But you have to maintain reasonable speed under caution. If you don't, the guy behind you will pass you. So you have to always have this balance between how long can the car be shut off, how close am I to the guy in front of me, and that's what you're doing through this entire caution when you're saving fuel.
And if you're up front, they don't like you coasting past the pace car.
Sounds like that's an experience.
So pit road is open. I believe Blaney and those guys are probably going to stay out, but somebody in the back would pit. I don't think it's a huge story yet, but it depends on how many attempts we get, how many overtimes we may run. Well, there we go.
Just a few have made their way onto pit road. We'll have a restart from Talladega when we return.
As the road to the championship 4 in Phoenix makes the next stop.
Here comes Jimmy Johnson. Truex gets tagged. It'll be a fight for the finish line.
We wondered who would win the 500th race for Team Penske. It has been decided. Make room, Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. There's another 7-time champ. Kenseth takes him out. Logano into the wall. Caution comes out and the crowd roars. Kyle Larson, a dominant performance. And today, he's a Cup Series champion. So many great moments from the remaining races. And they'll all be on NBC. Beginning with the Charlotte Roval next weekend. Again, coverage beginning at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock for the race. All the post-race coverage will be on Peacock. And the fans here at Talladega are looking forward to the final 3 laps of this race, Marty.
Let's check in with Miles Stanley filling in for Jonathan Hassler. So Miles, does this caution get you what you need to make it to the end, and how many overtime finishes do you have fuel for?
We feel pretty good about making the end of the race. I feel like it's touch and go, you know, how the green white checkers and everything play out. But we're really confident in what we got for the regular race distance anyway. So,
who does Ryan want pushing him? I know he and Josh Williams just had a long conversation about that.
Really, whoever's behind him, just wants him pushing him. He's really talking about how the best things for what he can take and what the car can handle. But we just want the guy behind us pushing.
I'm curious for you. You've been in this seat as the engineer for a long time, many of these finishes, but not really in the seat as a crew chief. How are your nerves doing?
I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing all right. Obviously, we stay in constant communication with Hassler and the engineers and Tony Palmer and guys, you know, at the shop and everything else. So feel pretty good about it. It's all team effort.
Miles Stanley filling in today. Might get a win at Talladega.
All right, so how do we get this win? All right, everybody has a job to do. What you just heard, Ryan Blaney, he wants somebody pushing him. Eric Jones wants somebody pushing him. It all starts on this restart. The guy in the back has got to be lined up at the right time. The guy in the front has got to be willing to keep him hooked to you. Maybe don't go full throttle. You've got to do a good job of getting pushed, and it starts right here at the restart.
I like where Ryan Blaney is, even though Eric Jones is the control car, can launch first. I honestly honestly think I'd rather have a Ford on my back bumper at the end of this race when it counts, when the pushing is going to be at its biggest peak, the most intense. That Ford bumper seems to match up the best.
Who would you like? McDowell pushing you or Chastain pushing you?
The Ford.
You want the Ford. You want Michael McDowell pushing you. All right, we're about to find out. 2 laps remaining. A shot to advance in the playoffs for Ryan Blaney, right in front of him. Green flag back in the air.
Outside line's got a good launch here. Are they together? Here comes the inside line back.
They had the better launch on the outside, but the inside had better commitment as far as being hooked together, and look at the advantage.
How far out is too far out as we see the 9 of Chase Elliott slide to that outside line. He's going to try to take the lead with a little help from the 43.
They're going to have a good run here to be outside, but there's 3 cars lined up. Then he falls back just a little bit. Big run from Chastain coming to the back bumper of the 43. Now they're disconnected on the outside line. Chase is trying to slow him down. McDowell into the back of the 12 here, but here comes the 9.
Big push. Yeah, big push from Eric Jones. Got to him and actually hit him hard.
1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. Side by side for the lead. Where will the momentum come? They're door to door as they go through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch for the final time. Chase Elliott now nosing ahead. Here comes Blaney fighting back on the inside. The shorter distance around the track. A big push from Michael McDowell in the 34. Elliott with the help of Jones. He surges ahead. Jones moves to the inside. Elliott has the lead. Chase Elliott through the dog leg. Blaney with momentum. He's not going to get there. Elliott's going to win at Talladega.
What a move by Chase Elliott.
Let's go, man. He won that race with 2 laps to go. The move he made to jump onto the lane that he was not in. He got great momentum and changed lanes. That's when he won this race.
Chase Elliott, after a poor finish in Texas, finished outside the top 30, was in jeopardy of advancing into the round of 8. That is no more. He has carved himself a spot for the next round of the playoffs.
What a classic Talladega finish. Just an exciting race all the way through. We got an amazing run to the end. No big, messy crash. Some great final moves there to make it happen. As great as your call was, I didn't have to hear it because I could tell from the fans standing below us, they erupted in applause when they saw Chase Elliott.
What a drive. You are the man. Congrats, buddy.
That's Mr. H.
Thanks, boss.
But we talked about over 100,000 fans here in attendance. I would guess over 50% of them are Chase Elliott fans. We see the checkered flag moment brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts.
NASCAR's most popular driver at NASCAR's most popular racetrack. It was packed today. They love it. His dad had some famous moments here, and they're excited to see Chase Elliott with this salute to the fans.
Right up along the fence, waving to the fans here in attendance. 5th win this season. In a season where drivers have not been able to separate themselves from the pack, it seems as though the momentum is on the side of the 9 team and Chase Elliott now. 5 wins, the most of any drivers this year. And now position squarely in the round of 8. And he continues to have the most playoff points, which will move with him into that next round, which will make it just a little bit easier to get into the championship 4 at Phoenix.
I have a feeling when he gets out and does this front straightaway interview, he's going to have something to say about Eric Jones and how much help he got from that 43 there on that final lap.
Just feel the energy of the crowd waiting to erupt when Chase Elliott gets out of this car. Career wins for Chase Elliott, Marty.
And what a timely win for Chase Elliott at one of his home racetracks. Won at Atlanta earlier this year. Now he wins in front of the fans at Talladega. Dawsonville's not very far away, and they know it. After the rough race at Texas, you guys kind of needed something like this, Chase. So walk me through, though, those final 2 laps and the push from Eric Jones.
Yeah, well, first, how about these fans, man? That's unreal. You know, moments like that you have to really cherish, and you guys are what makes this special to me. So thank you, sincerely. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was a wild last couple laps. You know, I wasn't super crazy about being on the bottom. And fortunately, got just clear enough off of 2 to slide up in front of Eric, and he gave me some great shoves. Obviously, a Team Chevy partner there, and yeah, just had a good enough run to get out front, and then was able to, you know, stay far enough in front of Ryan here at the line to get it done. So these things are so hard to win. You got to enjoy them, and just appreciate everybody's effort today. Napa, Chevrolet, all of our partners that make this happen. Everybody Hendrick Motorsports, the engine shop, the boss is here, so excited to celebrate with him and get ready to go to the Roval and try to grab another one. But thank you guys so much for coming out. Great crowd and great show.
You guys have had a rough playoff, Chase. Darlington, you think about Texas last week. How will this change the momentum for the 9 team?
Well, it gets you through the next one, and that's all you can ask for, is just to have more opportunities, and that's really what this is about. So. And we got, you know, 6 more playoff points to go with that win today. So it's a big deal, and we're you know, excited for these final handful of events, and hopefully we can make it out to Phoenix and give them a run.
How about for you this year? You win at Atlanta in front of your other hometown fans here in Talladega.
Yeah, I know it's North Georgia's not very far from here, so it definitely makes it feel like a home race, and again, always special, and never take that for granted. So thank you guys so much.
And Dad has won here a couple of times as well. Chase Elliott in victory lane at Talladega and into the round of 8, Dave.
Marty, the driver that we thought was going to have it in hand, but I guess you never know at Talladega, was Ryan Blaney. You've watched the replay now. You saw how they came around the outside there. Could you have thrown that block?
Yeah, I thought about it. And, you know, the middle was, or the second lane was kind of the strongest, like, definitely the second half of the race. And I thought about it, but I was just, when you go to the middle and you don't have a, you know, a Ford or a teammate behind you, your chances of getting split are just so high. And as much as I trust Chase, I don't trust him not to take me 3 wide and leave me in the middle. So I just chose to stay down in front of Michael, and he was awesome at pushing me the last restart and just giving me great shots, and just a little bit too late. Maybe I could have went fake the top, go to the bottom there on the front stretch. I don't know if I would have got there anyway, but overall not a bad day. I'm probably going to replay in my head like 5 different things I could have done different, but overall not a bad day. Appreciate the effort by Menards, and appreciate Dutch Boy and Ford for what they do, and going to next week.
I was was going to say highest non-winner in points. How does that feel going to the Roval?
I'm happy we're in a decent spot on points. I really want to win, though.
The W would have guaranteed everything, Rick.
I'll be honest, Rick, it was more about what Chase Elliott did than what Blaney didn't do. Blaney was in a great position to win that race, but Chase Elliott just pulled a few more moves. And it was a bit of a chess match at the end of that race, so I don't think Blaney can be too upset. And I don't know that he'll find a solution that might have corrected the outcome in his favor, but just some great decisions by this guy right here, Chase Elliott in this 9 car. You said it, Jeff, it happened several laps before we got to the end of this race. He made a couple different decisions that really put him in that position to win, and got the pushes also when he needed, and not only from Eric Jones. When we're watching the replay, Chastain plays a role in that, Gilliland plays a role in that. All that outside line energy was coming all through all those cars into the back of the 9 car.
Yeah, another thing with Blaney, you know, he's sitting there now 32 points to the good on points. And I know he wanted to win, but he came out of here with what he needed to make it to the next round of playoffs, unless something bad happened. So Ryan Blaney, it would have been an exceptionally aggressive block. Probably not the time to do that in the situation that he's in.
Take a look at the playoff standings. Chase Elliott, he's the first playoff driver that has been able to lock himself into the next round with this incredible move here at Talladega Superspeedway, getting the win here and now locking himself into the round of 8. It was a very eventful 3 stages here at Talladega, and the fan favorite, Chase Elliott, celebrating. Post-race show presented by Progressive. We're here with you until 6 o'clock Eastern, and then there will be extended post-race coverage on Peacock. And what incredible sights here at Talladega Superspeedway as Chase Elliott's made it to victory lane. Mortgage victory lane, as he will celebrate there with not only the team, but look at all the fans that are able to be there with him.
Well, the fans came out and they really got exactly what a fan deserves here at Talladega, and that is, as Dale Jr. put it, a classic Talladega finish, a 2-lap sprint with real calculated moves. We talked about this. We talk about the unpredictability, and you do have to be a little lucky to get to the finish. But those last 5 miles, that wasn't luck. That wasn't unpredictability. That was an excellent drive by Chase Elliott to take that move to the top, to get the push by Eric Jones. And I agree with what Jeff Burton said, that while Ryan Blaney will relive the moments that he thinks he could do different to perhaps win, not taking that block, not making that move, assured him a good finish, and that good finish has put him in a really good spot heading into the Roval next week.
And so as we watch this final few laps, the 9 car coming around the corners, you know, he said it. He saw an opportunity here. He pulls in from the 43, side drafts, which is really smart. Then watch what's happening behind the 43. They're bumper to bumper. Here they come. Ross Chastain is as big a deal as Eric Jones is, because he gets that 43 to the back bumper of the 9. The 11 drops off a little bit right here. Then again, the 38, the 2, the 1, they're all getting a big run back up to this 43 as well.
Now watch this run. This is where Blaney would have had to make the move. Watch the push from the 43. The 1 got into the 43. Now look at the speed. So if Blaney jumps up there with that much speed, yeah, it might have worked, but it might not have worked. So, yeah, you can second guess this, but Blaney's in really good shape to try to make the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, the commitment by Chastain, all of that. If Chastain jumps 3 wide, none of this really works out in Elliott's favor. Then down the back straightaway, it's really just a drag race. Everybody bumper to bumper right here. It's who can take the most push and keep their car straight.
And Blaney still has a shot to win the race right here. He's got a great pusher with McDowell, doing everything right. McDowell's doing a great job. Blaney's cleared Chase Elliott. Eric Jones now counters, and he's got a great push to Chase Elliott. Look at that right there. Chase Elliott with a big side draft, and now it's game over. Right there, there's just nothing anybody's going to be able to do to catch Chase.
But the runs are big, and the race is not quite over. Chase with a small little block right here, but nothing really the 12 could do. Just not enough racetrack left. Another 1,000 foot before the finish line, and maybe the 12 wins, but the runs were really coming on that 9 car late.
I will say that the one time I thought Chase had a chance to be passed, it was the 43 who gave him that push coming to 1 to go, as you guys pointed out. I think Eric Jones had a legitimate chance to turn right and take it 3 wide. He might be the one that relives what he could do different, but at the end he pushed a fellow Chevrolet to victory lane to help in the playoffs. But this man, Chase Elliott, he might want to send a little, thank you over to that 43 car next week when he gets to Charlotte.
Once again, Michael McDowell having probably his best season ever. Finishes 3rd here at Talladega. Parker caught up with him.
Michael McDowell was right in the thick of it coming down the final laps, the final corners. What different moves would you make to try and make victory lane?
Well, you always wish you get a redo, but unfortunately in motorsports you don't get that. I'm proud of everybody on this Loves Travel Stop Ford Mustang. Got peak performance on the car. All our partners, Speedco, Freight Auction, Horizon Hobby. It's good to be challenging for wins, but when you come up short, it's disappointing for sure. But felt like the 12 and I were hooked up good and had a good run. And obviously, when the 11 drug back off of me, that was probably my opportunity. I needed to drag back off of the 12 a little bit sooner. Just kind of lost a little bit of that momentum, and the energy just took a little bit too long to rebuild. But it's good to be close. It's been a great season. I'm really proud of the season we're having. But man, you come up a car length short of victory lane is tough for sure.
I know it is, and I was going to say this has been a remarkable season by you and this whole team. So look ahead for me. Where else are you going to contend? Because it seems like no matter where we go, you guys have fast cars.
Well, I think we'll be able to contend next week too when we go to the Roval. I feel like we're always strong on the road courses this year in particular with this next gen car. So, but we've been strong at a lot of racetracks. So a lot of races for us still to go that we feel strong at. Homestead test went great. I'm just really proud of Blake Harris and this whole group. Bob Jenkins has given us all the tools to go out there and be competitive, and we're getting to show it, each week. But, to get through the season and not get a win would be disappointing for sure.
It's another strong race for Michael McDowell and this Front Row Motorsports team.
And Ross Chastain comes home with a solid 4th place finish. Led a lot of laps, though, today. In the end, could you have done anything differently?
Oh, for sure, Kim. Our number 1 jockey, Chevy. We made a lot of moves, and a lot of moves got made on us. But I mean, there are 188 laps, and I would say that there's 2 or 3 times that 2 or 3 times a lap you have a decision to make, and there's 2 that stick out in my mind where I had control of the middle lane and I went bottom. So needed to just stay middle. It was so weird, or it was just different. It wasn't weird. The cars ran better in the middle lane and worked really good with the 12 there. And a couple of guys that it's good to work with them again. It's been a few years. Me and Ryan tried to tandem here in trucks 10 years ago. It's wild to think we've been here a decade in the sport. And I had Ryan and Brad lined up. That was some cool moments. And get a Chevy to victory lane, that makes it even sweeter.
Plus 28 as you head to the Charlotte Roval. How does that make you feel?
A lot better than anything less, right? I mean, every point earned is just better. It's never ending. You just want more. So if it was 29, I'd feel better, but if it was 27, I'd feel worse. So 28's a nice, really good points earned today for Daniel and myself, and for this Trackhouse group to keep executing throughout these playoffs. Look, we're figuring this out as we go. I'm experiencing this, and I'm loving every moment of it as I get to do this.
Ross Chastain, 4th here today.
So close to winning in stage 1, then you held back in stage 2. What more do you need in stage 3 to go challenge for the win?
Not much, really. It's so hard to pass. I know y'all have heard that, but it's just a train of two lines. You really can't run 3 wide with this car, so you got to just sit behind whoever's right there in front of you and hope you can push that line a little bit forward. Hopefully they switch lanes and then you can leap forward. But that's kind of what we got right now. So I feel like we executed a pretty good day, and our goal going into the day was 5 stage points. If we got more than 5 the first stage, and we were gonna punt in stage 2 and then go try to get a good finish, and that's what we did. So overall, good day. Just I was able to give Chase the push right there to get to the outside, and I thought about, should I go with him and kind of force the 43 up? And I'm like, on the bottom, I always know I've got somebody coming with help behind me. I know I got McDowell.
Why didn't you go with him?
I just, then I'd be in the middle, and it just, the risk wasn't worth going back to 15th, if I ended up getting stuck in the middle. So to me, this is the 3-race season that you have, you points race.
You leave here 21 points to the good, so is that a successful day in your eyes going to the Roval?
Yeah, I mean, we accomplished what we were trying to do. I mean, what other guys did, we couldn't change that. But would I like to have more? Yes. But obviously, we executed the day we wanted to, and better than what we started the day, we'll take it.
Solid effort by Denny Hamlin, this 11 team.
They had a plan, they stuck to it, and as we look at the playoff standings, Denny Hamlin now in a position where he's 21 points above that cutoff line. And again, after next week's race, the bottom 4 in points are eliminated. So right now you've got a tie there with Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric. So we finished the Talladega race, which we knew was going to be unexpected. We didn't know what was going to happen. Drivers, we do know that when we come to this racetrack, it's going to be exciting at the finish.
Yeah, I was entertained by that, and that's a great point. Well, what Denny was talking about really makes a lot of sense to me. We wondered why we saw the type of race we saw today. Not a lot of crashes, not a lot of risks. Guys were apprehensive to take risks. Then he talks about being, 21 points above the cut line. If he gets out of line and loses 10 spots at the end of that race, that's 10 points gone immediately. It could happen in one lap here. And so I think that was some of the reason why we saw a tamer event today. But also, like Ross Chastain said, they are learning on the fly, getting better, understanding how to push, when not to push. And so I was really happy with the race. I really enjoyed it. Saw some great moves out there. Saw an amazing finish. Some really, really good stuff by Chase Elliott at the end. And, we got a pretty good battle for the playoffs still going into the Roval, which should be another exciting race.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.